Hey everyone, Aldo Gandia here. I want to remind you of a special offer TixBlitz has for Barflies only. If you email marketing@tixblitz.com, you will receive a special promo code for $50 off on your next ticket purchase. That's marketing@tixblitz.com, TixBlitz.com. Just send them an email with the title Barroom at the top, and you will receive a promo code for $50 off on your next ticket purchase, but you have to hurry. There are only limited ones available. TixBlitz.com. The price you see is the price you pay, unless it's lower.
It's an exciting time to be a Chicago Bear. Definitely have some dogs. I'm looking forward to getting out there with them dogs.
What about the 5 that you'll see on Sunday?
I know those 5 guys can't block Khalil Mack.
One word that just continues to keep coming up with Ryan and myself is the word obsession. Being obsessed. There's going to be accountability as well, and I think that's key.
Obsessed.
Barflies unite, Barflies arise.
Obsessed.
It's the Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show, and the Barflies are alive. Barflies unite,
Obsessed.
Barflies arise.
Being obsessed.
It's the Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show, and the Barflies are
Being
alive. It's game day, the Bears are ready to roll, and so are the guys. A show to get you wise, no lies, educating Barflies. Realize that Bobby dropping bombs is the double A be flipping burgers while the Diddy be wanting pot roast. First he's on, now he's back. Where does he go? And Nicki Minaj who disappears like David Blaine on the show. Last but not least, Southwest Indiana's finest, calling all the angels. Now he's calling Fiji Highness. Cheer Bobby, Diddy, Nicki, Mr. Double A. Talking to Bears to get you ready on the Barfly Tailgate. Barflies unite, Barflies arise.
I know those 5 guys can't block
It's the
Khalil Mack.
Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show, when the Barflies are alive. Barflies unite, Barflies arise.
Chicago Bear.
It's the Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show,
Being
when the
obsessed.
Barflies are alive. Barflies unite, Barflies
Obsessed.
arise.
Being obsessed.
It's the Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show, when the Barflies are alive.
I'm not a big talker. I like to go out and use my actions to speak, and when I get out there and get on the field, you can probably sense what's going to happen. I want to win.
Being obsessed.
I know those 5 guys can't block Khalil Mack.
Yo,
Being obsessed.
the Barfly Tailgate Show
Being obsessed.
begins now.
Obsessed.
Barfly, the name given to followers of @Bears Barroom, loyal, die-hard family members of the show who will wolfpack someone when needed. Here we go, Barflies. We're back with another Barfly Tailgate Show. It's live. It's done by Barflies, for Barflies, and all the other Bear fans out there.
Killing in the name of...
What's up, Barflies? The final game of the regular season is here, and it still has a little impact on where things could end up. Today, we're going to battle the Vikings with the possibility of catching that bye into the second round if the Niners can pull off a little upset for us. But we also, we got the hopes. We can go out there and just kill the hopes and dreams of the Vikings and, kick them out of the playoffs. My name is Bobby Phelan. I'll be kicking around Drunk Town today, getting the topics and takes from these guys. We got the regular lushes in the bar room ready to close out the season and get to some playoff football. AA's in the house. He's got some interesting news for us in the Barflies. AA, you want to let everybody know on the recent development or what, man?
Yeah, what's up, everybody? The recent development is that I've been fitted for a pair of orange pants, and I've been kicked out of my house, and I'm living with my mother in a basement.
Jared's gonna die.
So yeah, Jared, I might die.
Jared needs a doctor.
Do they have 911 in Indiana? Because if they do, someone might want to call.
You gotta dial 1 first, bro.
Oh, okay, right. You gotta dial that collect. But seriously though, Jared, shut the fuck up. No. I started doing a blog. Somebody approached me to do a blog for ChicagoNow.com. They need someone to do a Bears blog. And so I'm going to be doing 2 to 3 posts a week and also promoting Bears Barroom stuff. And, just kicking it. So I put up the first one this week. You can check it out on my Twitter, which is at AARONTOR. I put the link up there. And so check it out. You fucks you.
Hell yeah, man. Awesome news. Congrats, brother. We all look forward to reading it and seeing what you got and talking shit about what you put up every week. So fucking be ready. We got B Dids in the house. B Diddy ready to close this season out and make this playoff push. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Loving it, man. Just been a lot of fun with you guys. This regular season wrap up here and 11-4, and I just want Robbie Gold back in Chicago next season.
He said he's coming to the playoff game. We'll see what happens. Kickers are people too. Ryan Badgley's in the house, ready to kick this thing around a bit. Badger, what's up, brother? How you doing?
What's up, fellas? What's up, Barflies, Bear fans? Ready to fucking get this dub against these Vikings to eliminate them from playoff contention and start our trek to the big game, boys. Let's get it done.
Damn straight. Finally, we got Air Jer, Southwest Indiana, represent. How things going today, Pony? What's up, man?
Pony might be a little tipsy, but Pony's rolling hard, and we're going to get that dub today. It's going to be good shit.
The good thing about pre-recorded is people are fucked up a lot. I mean, it's not, it's not 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning, so you're not hungover. People are just already wasted.
The 12 o'clock rule was in real jeopardy today.
Yeah, just think of a different time zone. It's okay. And later on in the show, we'll have the Gaines Report joining in with us. Gaines is a little busy today, but he's going to join in later, and we'll kick it around and invite him in once he comes and go from there. All right, boys, let's get this thing started. I'll just come out and say it. I thought we played like shit last game. In my opinion, rolling into the playoffs, there's no way you can play like we did against the Niners. Having a one-score game, at the end and allowing them to have the last possession that could have made the comeback happen won't work against playoff teams, man. He could have ran for that first down and we'd be in a different situation, but who knows? I mean, playoff teams, they'll put you away when you hand them the shit like we did last week. We'll get into this offense and the play calls, game tempo, and that here in a bit. But let's start this thing off with our defense and, break down the Niners. AA, we'll come to you, man. We're talking about a team that's on their third quarterback of the season. They had 12 dudes on the injury report. They were riddled from the jump. We're only, picked to win that game by 4, and it came down to the last possession, man. How do you think this game, could be considered impressive at all for our defense?
A win is a win in my mind in a lot of ways. I'm not a guy that necessarily grades out wins. Obviously we're in the in the business sort of analyzing things, and I do think that the current 49ers were being sort of underrated in some ways. They were on a 2-game win streak. Mullins had been, putting up over 300 yards passing. But what's interesting, I think, is that once again, we got the benefit of some injuries. Breda went down and Pettis went down, and and I've said this before, in addition to us playing really well and having a great season, we're also getting breaks, which is what you need. I mean, any team that makes a run, needs breaks and needs luck and whatnot. But I think the defense held their own for the most part. I think, I don't think Kittle really got off. I mean, he was basically their only weapon after Pettis and Breda were injured. And I think that obviously Akeem Hicks played well. He had those batted down balls, and so it was a workmanlike effort. Let's put it that way. I mean, I didn't think thought I had a feeling it was going to be an ugly game. Just playing on that road, that field was garbage, and garbage. It's. they got the job done at the end of the day. I think we'd all like to see, them have the dominant performance when they're expected to have the dominant performance, I guess. But, I think that the 49ers were, were feeling themselves a little bit. They had just beaten the Seahawks, even though it was kind of a penalty marred game, and maybe the Seahawks beat themselves or what have you. But at the end of the day, a win is a win is a win is a win. I definitely don't subscribe to this idea that ugly wins don't count or that, whatever. I mean, because, we started that off in the beginning of the year with Arizona,
Yeah.
and then people bitched about the Seattle win, and then people bitched about, and it's just like, hey, here we are, almost 12-4. So
yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, you got to string wins together, man, and no matter how you get them, it's just matters about getting the W and putting that, adding to the win column there.
Didn't it kind of feel like that classic, like playing down to your competition? You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, we talked about that numerous times on the show.
We have. It
the
felt
Bears
that way.
play. Yeah, they play to the level of the team that they're going against.
But don't you think that now that we are becoming the hunted and teams are giving us their best game? I mean, I think to some degree it's starting to flip. I know that historically that's been the case where we've, been like, the team that quote unquote plays down. But I do think it's starting to get to the point where teams are getting up to play the Bears, and we'll start to feel that, that thing that the Patriots, get, which is they get everybody's best game.
Yeah. And Bob, you nailed it, man. I think we can't play like that in the playoffs. That's exactly how I felt watching that game. I'm like, we cannot do this in the playoffs.
Yeah, you can't give a playoff team the ball down 5 or down 6 with a minute 40 to go, and they have the last possession and the last drive of the game. Like, that shit can't happen.
Whoa. Yes, that's true. But let's have a reality check. Our defense hasn't given up a touchdown in how long?
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying you can't give the ball up. I mean, you could say, well, I mean, that doesn't mean to give the other team the fucking ball with a minute 40.
No, I agree. And if Mullins holds on to that ball and runs, he's got a first down. The game continues.
Yeah, you know what, the Niners. Leonard Floyd was right on him. Like, it looked like I don't really buy that he necessarily just has a first down if he runs. I mean, he shouldn't have thrown that ball that he threw, but I don't think it was as clear cut as he gets a first down if he just runs. If you look at that play from the coach's angle, you could see Leonard Floyd was like right on him. I don't know.
And that red zone offense was atrocious too. You're going to be dealing with better teams in the playoffs. You can't be putting yourself in that position.
I mean, at the end of the day, the one thing that, that I would say about the defense is that they didn't allow a touchdown, and they made plays when they needed to make plays. I mean, that's all you can really ask.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll kick a little bit of that around because I'm sure some people got some stuff they want to talk about on certain things, and I don't want to eat it all up. But we kept them out of the end zone. Like we said, we haven't given up a touchdown in 5 quarters. The last one we gave up was to the Packers in the 3rd quarter. But either way, we held them to all field goals. Definitely a defensive one, even though it felt like something was missing. I mean, holding teams to field goals is great, but I still feel like there was something else that our offense was just they lacked, man. What do you think?
I do. I think that letting another team in the red zone that much. I mean, like I said, I don't think the Niners' red zone offense was very good at all. And I think if you're going to let playoff caliber teams in there, it's a dangerous game to play in the playoffs. I think our offense, I really expected us to blow them out. And again, like we said a couple times already, we just played down to our competition. I need to see more out of the offense. I think it was also a dangerous thing with the offense, even though some of them were called back. There were a lot of balls popped out. Allen Robinson in crunch time. I mean, that was potentially lethal. And we definitely need to play better on both sides of the ball going forward.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that give up right there was that's what kind of scared me and had me had that old Bears feeling. But all in all, I mean, the defense did show up. Jared, we only got to the quarterback once in the game. This was expected to be a huge pressure sack game for us. Mullins did a good job rolling out and getting away. Mack was hot on him a couple times. Hicks was hot on him a couple times. But he moved with the pressure and he got away. It kind of seems to me like games where we're expected to get all kinds of pressure, we don't. And then other games where we put up like 6 sacks, we weren't really expected to do that. What do you think the Niners did to negate our pressure and to get out of there, man?
Well, they had a moving pocket, which was, I mean, all credit to the coaching staff of San Francisco. They schemed us well. I mean, how do you avoid pressure? You roll the pocket sideways and make us cover more of the field. I think we still got, pressure is kind of a subjective thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like maybe we didn't exactly get the hits or anything, but we made an inexperienced quarterback move and throw at the same time. And that's not something that he's very good at, or obviously if he was good at it, we would have that L. We didn't get that L, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as far as like what Diddy was saying about the ball possession there, me and Badge were going back and forth in the game, during the game, texting, and it was like, dude, we're awful loosey-goosey with the football. You know, not to dab on that, but me and Badge were talking about it. It's like, man,
yeah, dude,
we need to possess that ball, and there was something that was just not, at that moment, I remember feeling that it's like, this ain't right, dude. Why is everybody they ate popcorn at halftime?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Could not hold on to it. And it was everybody, man. I mean, AR, they're late. It's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Robinson Burton even had one whenever he's going down, he kind of loses it and gets stripped. And it was just like, what the fuck's going on? Why can't anybody hold on to the football?
Yeah, I know. Now we're getting into the offensive though. Let's stick with the defense.
Bobby,
hop over to offense here in a minute.
Sorry, bro.
Akeem, you were talking about disrupting the quarterback. I mean, Akeem Hicks' 3 batted balls, man, and I know 2 of them were on third downs. The guy, he's just balling out. That's one huge. He's a boss, dude.
Yeah, those are huge plays without pressure. Gaines is in the house. Gaines hopped in and joined us. Big Gaines, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Hey, man, what's going on, Bobby? What's going on, fellas?
Nada. We're coming at you right now, man. I'm just going to shoot a question from the hip. I know you've seen it, and Diddy just mentioned it about Hicks. Hicks getting these 3 batted balls, and we only got 1 sack, on Mullins in that game against the Niners. But how much do you think comes into play with, maybe we're not getting as much pressure as we expected, but we're still batting down balls and stopping drives?
I mean, it goes back to good coaching, man. Olin Kreutz talked about it on 6-7 and Score. He said, they know for a fact, the offensive lineman, it's your job. If the guy doesn't get to you, you're still supposed to knock his hands down. And as a defensive lineman, if you know you're not going to make it to the quarterback, the first thing you do is you get your hands up. And so the fact that we got great coaching that keeps these guys' fundamentals going is still pretty good. Because we talked about it last week. Mullins, we talked about how good Mullins was. He led the league in yards since week 13.
Yeah.
We knew going in this guy was a fighter, and I witnessed this guy taking hits at the very last second. This guy, I'm actually happy for this guy, man. He is putting on a nice film for him. I like it when these underdogs get a shot. But in terms of our pressure was getting there, he was just standing. Most guys would have folded. And just took a sack, in my opinion. Because it's either one shot, he left his ribs all the way open, and we were just like a half a step off. But I definitely share what Jerry was saying about the popcorn effect, because it was like we were just like a half a step or a step behind. But I still like the fact that we get our hands up. These batted balls those are tip drills, bro. I love those damn balls. Batted balls, that's tip drills. If Eddie Jackson was playing, we would have scored. I mean, it was Eddie Jackson playing. There was like 2 interceptions that was off. I said, damn, Eddie would have picked that off. And those are the plays
we just got a drop there.
Yeah. So I mean, we got to take the bad with the good, and so we got to take the bad with the good. The fact that guys are still playing all the way through. You can't get in. Get hands on the ball and stuff like that. And so As long as our DBs still have that faith to like to cut off the routes, to cut off the routes and everything, and we were just kind of fortunate. And so taking the bad with the good, man. I mean, it's still pressure, but you gotta admit that young man was still kind of impressive to me. He made some playoff throws, and I was like, damn, this guy is like.
Yeah,
man.
he did.
And the guy's he's making less than $500,000 this year. The guy's making less than $500K this year.
Yeah, well, he's a third stringer. I'll take his salary. I'll trade his salary in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, he did. The kid came out. The kid's been having great games, man. He came out. He did. I think maybe some of it has to do with the field and the lack of pressure for lack of footing or maybe a little hesitant to rush upfield when you're on something like that. But I remember that one play that he tried to throw to Goodwin, I think, where Danny T got the pick. Mullins was fucking heated, man. That dude was pissed.
Yeah, he was.
Goodwin, it hit him right in his hands. It bounced off his hands and went right into Trevathan's chest. I mean, it was like a lucky grab, a lucky interception, and whatever. But it's still an interception. But that dude was pissed, and you could see like just the look on his face.
Alligator arms.
I mean, do you think, Bobby? Do you think? I know we're not on this shit out of flow, but do you think they get out of Jimmy G's contract?
They can at the end of next year.
Yeah.
I mean, the end of next year they can get out of it. I think this kid has done what we want for every team in the NFL besides our own, is a quarterback controversy. Everybody
and a quarterback on a rookie deal. That's what everybody really.
Yeah. But I mean, everybody calls for the backup when your starter's playing like shit. But then sometimes you quickly get away from, oh shit. But I think this kid has had enough time to prove that he can string some games together and he can do some things. I think.
Bobby, I was just gonna say one thing. I think that I forgot to mention is that Mukamara kind of had a crap game. He was definitely the one getting abused on the left side, or the offense left, and it's something to keep an eye on. I think, and I think it's something that's probably partially happening because Eddie Jackson's not there. Prince needs to remember that he doesn't have that same type of person backing him up. There.
Correct.
Well, he was getting toasted on those comeback routes too.
He was,
man. Maybe that was some of it. He was trying to stay deep and not let anybody beat him. But those comeback routes, he was getting toasted, man.
Well, yeah, it seemed like he was playing off, and then what would happen is then they'd hit him with a double move, because then he'd come up expecting those comeback, and then you get burnt. So because there was like one that was like a 38-yarder to Goodwin or whatever, but just something to keep an eye on him. I think if you have to pick somebody right now in the secondary, surprisingly, I think it's a Mukamara. I mean, Sherrick has stepped up, man. Salute to McManus because he surprised me. I mean, I didn't really think he could, I thought maybe he could have one good game, but he's now had two good games.
Yeah.
So,
and another thing I was going to say too, something to watch out for. LaDainian Tomlinson on NFL Network was just saying like the one team he thinks that could give the Bears a problem in the playoffs was the Saints due to their running back's ability to run on the outside. I've been kind of paying attention to that, and Brady was having a little success with that before he got hurt. I just think it might be something to just kind of watch, because especially in a game like tomorrow.
In terms of real quick, explain it for me real quick. So you see the Saints using their running back in terms of like running to the sideline,
off tackle,
running to the off tackle. LT feels the Bears are a little vulnerable that way, and from a running back saying that, I've been kind of paying attention to that.
The only reason why I disagree because I feel like that's the exact reason why we got Roquan Smith, because of his sideline ability. And so, but I will pay attention to that. Because I just feel like Roquan is just everywhere, and he's not scared. I feel like he gets off his block decently enough.
And I also think, I mean, it's a good point, but I think that was already proven in the Rams game when they tried to run Gurley off tackle all those times and we shut him down. I think it's a matter of prepping and preparing for the team, and we were preparing for Breida to cut up, to take those middle routes and cut upfield, and they started bouncing some out on us, and there's a couple times where you see Floyd take that inside route instead of outside route. And
Exactly.
They're leaving the nickel. They're leaving the nickel back on containment, which obviously isn't what you really push for. I mean, we had the defensive end and the inside and the outside linebacker pushing up the middle instead of somebody sitting out containing the edge.
A lot of these guys keep saying stuff.
So right, Bobby. So right.
A lot of these guys keep saying stuff. I think the Bears are vulnerable this way. I think the Bears better watch out for this. But none of those things that people keep bringing up have actually happened.
Yeah. Well,
I'm like, show me the guy that ran really well against the Bears. It hasn't happened since I don't know what, Frank Gore.
Yeah.
I mean,
no. Go to Detroit.
They're just talking, bro.
They're
just now starting to walk the Bears game, dog. We've been ignored all season long, so they just going off any narrative they can just jump on.
You're right. The good thing is that we got them talking. They're talking about the Bears, and it's more than they have ever done in the past. Badge, let me come to you, man. After that late hit on Mitch in the fourth, I mean, I was okay with the guys coming out and, coming to his defense and getting at it on the sidelines. Honestly, I was more impressed that that's where it stayed, and the discipline of this team showed, man. And when the defense got back out on the field, there was nothing stupid or anything chippy after the Mitch hit, or nobody felt like retaliation was a must. What did you think about that and the way that they kind of held their cool?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the guys came to his aid. I mean, he kind of got up and gave a little shove and whatnot, which you want to see. Hits like that, though, I mean, we saw it with Harrison Smith, man. He missed 2 games. So while I think the guy was trying to hold up, you got to do a better job of it, man, because, we talked about it last week with losing Jimmy G for the Niners, man. We lose Mitch. Forget it. I'm sorry. Chase Daniel ain't leading us nowhere. So, I think it was great. The team came to his aid. One thing I got to talk about the whole game and this situation in particular, the officials were fucking atrocious, guys. I mean, it was they were the worst officiated game I've seen all year. And there's been some bad games. This was terrible. The field goal before the half, no fucking way that's a first down, number one. But, to allow then he spikes the football on 4th down. So, the officials were atrocious. I don't think Anthony Miller should have been tossed related to this. Yes, he came over to the player, shoved him. But,
that happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, after every play. Right, he didn't, exactly. Yeah, he didn't come off. He came down the sideline. Bellamy, I mean, whatever. To me, I think the whole thing got escalated by Richard Sherman. Sherman coming in. I know he's trying to get his boy, whatever, but him flying in like that, I think that's what prompted Bellamy to be like, all right, come on, man. So, the
only thing
came to his aid.
Yeah, the only thing I see, the only reason I can see why they ejected Miller, and granted, not that I agree with it, but is that he was not on the field of play. He came from the sidelines and pushed somebody instead of being one of the 11 on the field of play and doing it that way. Because you see this happen in games all the time. You see it middle of the field. Middle of the field, you see it happen. But he was not in the play. He came from outside of the field of play and pushed somebody. But he
was on the bench though. But it was inside the white marker.
I know. I get it. I'm just saying that's the only thing that I can think of would be a valid reason, because you can't have dudes. You can't have dudes like, if that happened in the middle of the field, you can't have dudes running off the sideline and start pushing people. Absolutely. That's just going to be fucking ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So the only way that I could see that any reasoning for that to happen would be because he came from outside the field of play.
And that was the first time that the New York replay was used, I believe they said during the game, that the guys from New York got everybody's numbers and stuff who make the touches, and they made the call.
I'll tell you what, man.
Dude, how they figure that out, I don't know. I watched that replay 6 fucking times, and I can't see who's throwing what and who's throwing.
I agree.
That was the first time I felt like with Josh Bellamy, I was like, that's my wide receiver right there, baby.
How about Kyle Long, boys, playing peacemaker, man? You know, normally he's the guy like, come on, man, you've been my quarterback. He's the guy like, whoa, easy.
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, he's the one that
Miller.
he doesn't let the drama get to him. He diffused the situation as quick as he could to kind of keep people around. You know.
Anthony Miller came off the sideline in a hurry, you know, and that's the theory about this whole team is if that doesn't tell you about how they feel about their starting quarterback, they were ready to throw fucking down, and it was going to be a bloodbath. If that doesn't tell you what they think about Mr. Trubisky and all these fucking haters and all their talking shit about Trubisky's this and these motherfuckers believe in him, period. Point blank. That's their leader. And you know what? You take a shot at their leader, you better get ready because we're coming. And we're going to take the fucking teeth with us.
I honestly was going back and forth with a guy this morning on Twitter. His name is Bear Down and Bucks. And he was kind of it was basically off of the fact that Bellamy is nothing to this team, kind of, and lackluster receiving skills and this and that. And I kind of fired back with all I put was the camaraderie on this team is what other teams try for years to develop. Bellamy's the veteran presence / leader in the wide receiver and special teams session. I mean, he's the most veteran wide receiver we have. And then I just followed it up with, perfect example of how a team culture changes players' careers. The pressure to make a big play on him is gone. He's balling. He ain't going nowhere.
It's family, fellas. It's family. We talked about it last week. They have his back because, like Jer said, man, they know they can go places with this guy as their quarterback. And you see it. You hear him talk about it in the locker room. It's all togetherness, and that comes from the head coach and his coaching staff. They know this is where you've got to have everybody's back, and that's exactly what they're doing. And Mitch is the leader of that. He's the quarterback. He's the face of this team, along with the defense, and that's huge, man. And it can carry a team a long way.
And Bobby, to co-sign what you just said, you're so right, bro. That was the damn perfect response. Send me that shit so I can retweet that. That was amazing. The simple fact is, without Josh Bellamy, we lose these last 2 games. He made clutch throws, bro. On special teams, you guys talked about it last week. On special teams, get down in the ball. He caught the one punt at the 1 yard line, 2 yard line. The Green Bay game on that 3rd down. I mean, he's made some plays these last 2 games that just solidify that justify. He's the new Earl Bennett, and it's good to see him. It's good to see him finally paying due with the roster spot and actually making some great throws.
Yeah, definitely, man. All right, let's keep this thing moving. I mean, I know we jumped into the offensive a little bit, but that's okay. Let's stay here. Stay on this side of the ball. Mitch came out. He had another good game. I think he went 25 for 29. Yeah, 25 for 29 for 246. Moved the pocket when needed. He got sacked 3 times, but, whatever. What do you think about the way this kid has come around and stringing together, the wins these last couple games?
I mean, I think Mitch looked really good. Phil did a great job with his tape doesn't lie and did a breakdown on him. And you know what? I felt like his game was good. But then after watching that, I realized it was even better. And a couple things stood out to me. One obviously being the play that a lot of people talked about with Allen Robinson, where essentially they realized that the safety was coming over and playing under and trying to jump a sideline route, so they adjusted it to go deep. That was a great play and a great adjustment, and he definitely got hit and threw the ball, but he's finding different guys in different spots. He's keeping his eyes downfield. He's not necessarily looking to run, but when he needs to escape, I mean, the guy is making spectacular escape plays out of the pocket. I mean, he's not getting all the love that Patrick Mahomes and Watson gets, but dude is making ridiculous escape plays out of that damn pocket. I mean, some of those replays, this is crazy stuff that he's doing. It's not just like, oh, that's pretty good. I mean, those spinaways that we used to kill him for in the first few games of the season, this dude's got those dialed in to where he can use that.
It up.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Setting it up. It's not.
He feels that pressure coming, man.
It's crazy, but he's feeling it very smartly now. Like back in the beginning of the year, he was kind of feeling this ghost pressure and kind of doing some funny things and just jumpy. But now he's starting to look confident. And when he feels that, I mean, it's just boom. He's just gone. He spins. And then he starts rolling. And I mean, that play to Mizell, he threw that dart to the sideline. And, I mean, shout out to Mizell, I mean, who's gotten a lot of heat by us and somewhat rightfully so. But you know what? He adjusted his route. He came back to the quarterback. He had that throw across the field to Broniker, which was pretty sick. He overthrew Robinson a little bit on that one. But at the end of the day, he's now feeling very comfortable, I think, in this offense, and he is helping out that offensive line so damn much. I mean, and I just, I'm ready for this guy to get a little more credit in terms of the plays that he's making. It's like I've never seen somebody get so much heat for the plays that they miss, and it's like he had 4 incompletions out of 29 attempts, and it's like that's all anybody thinks about is his damn 4 incompletions. And we can't beat this.
I mean, you can build 1,000 bridges.
Right, exactly. Right.
Someone should blog about it.
Yeah, someone should. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the guy had a very solid game, and I even agree with Phil that I like the throw down the middle to Shaheen. That's a throw he's got to try to make every now and then. When you have a 6'7" tight end, I mean, ask Brady if he throws it into double coverage to Gronk every now and then.
He hit him in the hands too.
Hell yeah,
he hit him in the hands.
Right. I mean,
do. I think this
during the game it was always thrown into double coverage, And there was a play in Mullen's first game where he threw this stupid ball that Kittle caught and made a huge play. And I tweeted that if Mitch did that, he would have gotten killed. He would have been, he's thrown into double coverage. What a dumb risk, blah, blah, blah. But, Mullins gets a call from Brett Favre at the end of the game, because he's a gunslinger.
Because his Levi's are fucking strapped tight.
Exactly. So I just think, this game I think was very underrated. And I will say that the one thing that he really, really shouldn't have done was obviously that that play with the pick. I think sometimes
okay. I thought you were talking about the throwback to Cohen.
We got bailed out on that pick on the interception in the end zone.
I also think the little throwback to Cohen was probably a risk.
Yeah, that was bad too. But again, I think that Nagy will tell you that he's okay with the aggressive play. And Mitch is playing like a guy who's feeling confident and who feels that the team has his back, and not to go back, but when that fight happened, Mitch is the one that popped up and got in dude's face first.
Yeah.
Like, he was right up in that guy's grill.
Yeah, I think his comfort level is definitely growing. And I think some of it might be because of the balanced attack that Nagy's been showing, man. I mean, this was a balanced attack again this week. We threw 29 times, ran the ball 28 times. Diddy, you think this is a new style that he's conforming to, or is this just the game flow and in-game decisions that Nagy's going with, and it just pans out to be a balanced attack?
I think it just depends on how Nagy wants to attack each individual team. But this is a really good recipe for the playoffs. I think having this balance. I'd like to see a little more production on both sides of it in the passing and running. I think we had 7. I looked it up. 7 guys. They rushed for 94 yards. It took 7 guys, but that's also a product of the offense he's running. You're gonna have multiple guys running, but I definitely like the balance. I definitely think it's very important for the playoff run, and just hopefully we can get more production from both sides of it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we had 7 guys running the ball. I think we had 10 different receivers catch the ball. There's not a single weapon. Well, not so much, right? A single weapon that has to be used in order to win games. Although I think the Niners they tried to minimize Tariq, and they did a hell of a job at it. Gaines Tariq was pretty much a non-factor in this game. He ended up with 6 carries for 12 yards, 1 catch for 7 yards. And the offense honestly looked like it was a step off, man. Did you give do you give the Niners the credit for shutting him down, or was this just Nagy's play calling and playing it a little slow?
I'll say it's a little bit of both. A little bit of both on both sides. I think Jared was saying it earlier that we're playing too loose with the ball, and one way or another, Tariq has been involved in too many fumbles in my book.
Yeah.
And it's becoming a small thing just in the back of my head, but I think it's on both sides. Niners did do a good job, but at the same time, I was glad Mitch was able to take those when things did look bad. He was for his normal dump off. Mitch was just run himself, and so we saw this coming. It's going to be different days. Jordan Howard got a little bit of love. And so I'm glad that we have multiple options. But it just when it stalls, I'm glad Mitch doesn't freeze us all the way. I mean, no one player should, unless it's Mitch Trubisky, no one player should be like, damn, the damn game is over because we can't get the ball to this player. That's the one thing I love about our wide receivers, that we have. That's why I knew we were going to win, because it's like, okay, you shut this down, Mitch, just find your damn receiver, man. Just find your receiver. This is going to be somebody open. That's why one guy, it might be 1, 2, 3 catches, but it's 3 catches spread across the entire field. They can only cover so many guys, and that's what I love about this offense. I love our coach, man. I love what we're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely a change from last year. Yeah, definitely a change from last year, where everybody knew if you shut down Howard, we were pretty much fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Jared, what do you think?
Back
to what?
No, that Tariq thing though, I just found it real annoying. Like you said, he was minimized, and then the announcers after a 3-yard gain are comparing him to Barry Sanders. That annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah, with his little cutbacks and that. But I mean, they did. They tried to shut him down. But we still had obviously offensive production. Maybe not as much as we wanted to see. But Jared, what do you think, man? They try to shut down Tariq. We still pull out the victory. In years past, if they shut down Howard, that would pretty much be it. Does this just show the weapons that we have on our side of the ball, and the ability to game change?
Absolutely. A mainstream media guy that gets it is Louis Riddick. If you've listened to Louis Riddick, he knows. He's like, hey, we can beat you in a multiple facet of ways. And we absolutely can do that. And Matt Nagy uses 95% of those ways, even to the point where we're like, what the hell are you doing? Because we don't know what he's doing. I would have liked to have seen Jordan Howard touch the ball more in the San Francisco game, because that felt like he was really on a roll again. And I love that I feel that way. I love that I feel that way about our running back. Tariq is credit to San Francisco for scheming well. I mean, we talk about how teams, play, and they're a 4-11 team, and they gave us everything they had, and we took it, and we came away with that win. And I really hope they take that same fire into this last game versus the Rams for our own benefit. But
yeah, of course.
I'm just saying, that's a team that's fighting, and you can kind of see that, and they're going to be a force next year probably. I mean, their injuries have killed them, but as far as what we're doing, we can hit. How do you want game to be put up? I mean, I think we've said this from week 1. It's like, we can beat you across the middle, we can beat you deep, we can beat you to the sideline, we can beat you physically beat you. I mean, that's what makes this team great. And I really feel like, if once we're in the playoffs and that animal's unleashed and these guys get a taste of that, dude, sky's the limit. We can take it all. And I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to step on that ledge. And we're a Super Bowl team right now.
Just wait until we start hitting those big plays, like the play to Shaheen. I mean, you eventually we're going to come down with that ball, guys. And, okay, we're going into week 17, and I'm saying, eventually we're going to come down to that. I sound like one of these dumbass analysts on, one of these shows. But Shaheen really hasn't been in the mix, all that much, other than a few plays here and there. Once he's gets, he's got to get everything under him. He gets on the field for more plays, and they really start using the offense the way Nagy wants to use it with the 2 tight ends. Dude, we're going to start hitting on those. And, now isn't a bad time for that.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I think that I think should be brought up is I was looking back at this game and the drive charts is in the third quarter, the Bears' first drive, they start at their own 10 and they go 75 yards for a touchdown. That drive, that's a signature drive right there. Yeah. That's the kind of thing. 7 minutes and 43 seconds, 75-yard drive for a touchdown. That was monster, and it was a mix of run and pass, and they swung it around. It was all almost short-circuited by Allen Robinson. He didn't fumble, but again, ball security. But and you saw that in that mic'd up piece that they did with Mitch. Where he just dapping everybody up about that drive, and that's the kind of thing that we need to see in the playoffs. That's a playoff winning drive. Eat the clock and go down and score.
And with the whole, I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the way Mitch is growing and the things that he's doing in this offense, so we mentioned it a little bit earlier. Badge, we'll come over to you. Dan Ovlowski, he released that video talking about adjustments and how Coach Nagy has a weapon, with route adjustments on that Robinson 43-yarder. Then Helfrich came out and said in the presser that Mitch is the one who made that adjustment. He made that adjustment and came out and changed the route for Robinson. And the thing that shocked me was this was all the first quarter.
Yeah, dude.
It all happened in the first quarter. It wasn't a halftime adjustment. It wasn't okay, this happened in the first quarter. Now it's the fourth quarter. Let's change it up. All of this happened in the first quarter. The kid came around. He changed the route. Whatever. Beat him deep on the 43. Helfrich said that he thought that that Robinson pulled up a little bit, not expecting. He didn't see the ball, so he pulled up a little bit to try to find it. And then once he found it, he had to kind of lay out for it. But either way, he got it. What do you think that says about this kid and his development? And honestly, the trust that the staff has in him to go ahead and make that adjustment at the line?
Dude, that's huge. That's showing you he's growing in the offense and analyzing a defense and recognizing that, hey, all right, on this last play, now I know I can try this next time if we run this play again. So that means he went over to Coach Nagy and said, hey, look, we saw it this time. Yeah, I threw it a little high, but here, let's try this the next time, and I think we've got a shot here. And It just shows. I want to mention Dan Orlovsky as well. His breakdowns this season have been phenomenal. He does a really nice job breaking down game film. If you haven't seen him, Dan, if you're listening in, man, come join us on the bar room. We'd love to have you on, man. Talk some football with you. But Coach Helfrich, coming out and saying, well, actually, Mitch made the adjustment. That's got to feel good too when you're the coach, going, holy shit, man. So I've been working with this guy to do this, and he's recognizing it. Yeah. This is exactly what we want to see from him, and that's what they're starting to see, and it's huge. Huge.
It is, and it's granted, you could say it's maybe a little backyard football-esque to where, hey, this dude keeps doing this. Just next time, let's do a, down, out, and up. I want you to go out. I'm going to pump fake it and then hit it deep and let's go. But I think it's big for Mitch to make that adjustment, especially all within a couple minutes of each other, and to keep going from there. So let's wrap up that 49ers game. So 49ers game's over. I'm pretty sure you guys heard the Matt Nagy, the presser that he had going into basically about whether or not he's going to play guys, what it means to dominate this division, playing teams a second time, and if he's going to hold anybody out of the game. So I kind of chopped it up a little bit. We're going to drop this presser in. It's chopped a little bit. We'll let it play, and then I'll get you guys' thoughts on it after.
Matt, you left open the possibility of keeping an eye on what's going on in the Rams game and how it could dictate what happens in your game. Is that something you have to talk to the players about, or do they just...
No, not at all. That's I have to bring that up to you guys just because then it gives you something to talk about, and then also I can talk about it a little bit. But no, they don't care. We're in this building right now. We're just so focused in on trying to win, honestly. And if we're concerned about any of that other stuff that we can't control, then we're not going to do everything we can to win. And that's why I'm trying to. It is a unique situation. That's the real part. But the other real part is that we are going there to do everything we can to win the game. And whatever happens outside of our game, we can't do anything about it.
Even within that framework, is there something to the potential of playing Minnesota twice in 6 or 7 days that would lead you to alter certain aspects of your game plan?
Nope. No, like I said, it's if we do that, then we're not doing everything we can to win, and so we're going to go about this thing the right way, and that's the only way. Otherwise, then you start doing that, and not everybody's all in, and people have questions. They want to know this, they want to know that, and then there's too much gray, and we want just black and white.
You mentioned the other day that with the defense you have to be cognizant of ball security and stuff. Do you have to fight any part of you that wants to be aggressive all the time? You always talk about taking deep shots, doing all that. Does having this dominant defense tamp that down a little bit?
No, for me it doesn't, but it can be situational, like by game, maybe by where you're at in the game, within the game. So whether it's by the team you're playing or whether it's by the situation you're in, it could, but it's not going to change our mentality of being able to stay aggressive. That's just not who we are. If they're going to give us an opportunity to be aggressive, we're going to do that. If they're going to try to take away us being aggressive, then we got to be able to take away other spots, take advantage of other spots.
You guys win on Sunday. That's 5 division wins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the team won a division game last year, period. I mean, what's the significance of that if you were able to accomplish that?
It all starts there. You got to win your division games. And our guys, we talked about at the beginning of the year some goals that we had. When you win your division games, you're giving yourself, a really good chance at being able to be there in the end to win a division, which is going to get you, a home playoff game at the minimum. So I just love that our guys followed up with that. They take it seriously, and no matter who you are, what team you are, you want to always be in, and it comes into tiebreakers too. It plays into tiebreakers as well.
Robinson, how did he feel yesterday? And when you said it's the same, do you anticipate him not practicing again?
Yeah, I probably see him being similar to today. So far, I see him being the same as what he was yesterday. He's a little sore. But we'll monitor that, and I don't want to do anything to make it worse, and not, I want to make sure that we're just attacking that the right way.
Talk about the unique situation that you're in this week.
Yeah.
Does that inform how you will handle him, whether he plays Sunday?
No, if I feel like, if I feel like he's in a position to where we can, hey, he tells us, hey, I feel great. I needed a few days rest here. I'm feeling good, and then that's something that, again, I'll get with our trainers. Is he safe to do it? And if he is, let's go. And if he's not, if it's going to hurt him, or if he's going to say he's good and we put him out there and he's not good, then that's not fair to the team. So that's where we got to see when we get to the end of the week. We'll see exactly where he's at, and if he can help us in any way, let's go. If he can, he hurts us, the next guy up.
Matt, you beat the Lions and the Packers the second time around. I know you said every game is independent, but did having those previous games kind of on tape help you? Andy Reid was good at that in winning the second game. Is there an advantage to be gained for a coach in facing a team a second time?
Not really. I think because you could say it's the same thing for them too. I think, again, are you at home? Are you on the road? Where's your team at, injury-wise? But for me being my first year with this team, for me being my first year with this offense, I think if you're seeing a team for the second time later in the year, it's going to be an advantage for us more than it is the beginning of the year because this is our first year. Down the road, that could be maybe a slightly different, but having them a second time, knowing their personnel, knowing what they did before, it could possibly be a little bit easier for you. Not easier, but it could help you out a little bit.
Matt, for your offense, how necessary is a guy like Tariq?
How necessary is he? Well, I really like 29. So, but again, I feel like in our offense we have different guys. If 29's not in or not playing, then we find another guy to fulfill that role. But each player has his own level of advantages of how good of a player they are and their strengths and weaknesses. And he's got a lot of strengths and not a lot of weaknesses. So having him be a part of what we do and what we scheme is a huge advantage.
Matt, this team, whether it's you or the players, most people on your staff, you guys are in a position that this team has not been in for the last few years. How much do you rely on what you learned from Andy, and was there one thing in particular that you've really kind of fallen back on?
I rely on that a lot just because I have the luxury of being able to be around and see the weekly process of how he handled, on how Coach Reed handled practices, meetings, games. And the best part of all that was you didn't change. You just did what you did, and nothing. You don't try to act different. You don't try to coach different. You don't try to teach different. You do everything the same. And when you do that, it's worked. And I put my own little spin on it here or there with some things, but for the most part, you don't need to. It is a unique situation. It's different for a lot of our players and for some of our coaches. They're our first time together doing all this, but they're going to see with me that we just keep going about our business and controlling what we can control.
All right, guys, that was Coach Nagy. Go ahead talking about whether or not to play people, how he's going to approach this game, what Cohen means to this offense, and playing teams twice and going back and forth. Honestly, in my opinion, the way that we came out last week, this isn't an offense that looks like we need to rest people. I think we need to come out and fire on all cylinders and put that fear into people that, damn, they can beat you on offense and they can beat you on defense. Hey, what do you think about Coach Nagy's statement about going into this Vikings game and playing people?
You play to win the game, period. You play to fucking win the game, okay? Like, I don't know how else you can handle it. You cannot tell your team we're going to scoreboard watch, That's just, you can't do that in a football game. I mean, that stuff sounds great as a viewer. We can sit there and they're not watching Red Zone. You know what I mean? Like, there may be some scenarios where, okay, this game's out of hand. We know the Rams game's up. And then maybe, they start thinking about, rotating a little bit more. I mean, I think that's something we may see. But the other thing that I think is interesting is the playing a team 3 times thing, which I think is odd. I heard on 670 The Score, Matt Spiegel was actually back on with Terry Bors, of all people, which is kind of crazy. So it was like a throwback. They talked about times when the Bears have played teams 3 times, and 2 that they brought up, which I think is probably the only 2. One was in 1994 when this was they were 9-7 under,
wasn't it?
Yeah, they were 9-7 under Wannstedt.
We played them in the playoffs.
Yep. And the interesting thing about that year is we lost to the Vikings both times. So they lost 42-14, and they lost 33-27 against the Vikings. Then played them in the wild card and beat them 35-18 at the Vikings. So, and then we end up losing to the 49ers of all teams, 44-15. Then in 2010, we played the Packers obviously in the last weekend of the season. 17, and then of course we played them in the infamous NFC Championship game. So I don't really I don't put much into the whole playing a team 3 times business. Like, I mean, it's a division game. You need to beat teams in your division. Akeem Hicks also talked about this, that division games are gold. You don't fuck around with division games. I just don't think you can go into that game saying anything other than we need to beat this team. And it's going to be a hostile environment. The Bears are not favored, which a lot of people I think are a little head scratching about. It's another disrespect against us. But, at the end of the day, you have to tell your team we got to win this game. And then if things, pan out different ways and it's looking like, then maybe you make some slight adjustments and get Khalil Mack off the field, and maybe you're not sending guys out there playing a little hobbled or whatever, just so I don't know, but I can't see us going into any with the other mentality than winning.
Yeah, and on the flip side of it all, if you look up and they're looking at the scoreboard and the Niners are up fucking 21 points, I think that shoots a spark under our team's ass to take this game away and to win it. You know what I mean? We haven't really talked about the flip side of it. Everybody said, well, if you look up and the Rams are winning by 21, well, what if you look up and the Niners are winning by 21? Then what? I mean, I think it puts a fire under our team's ass that they know they have to secure this game to win it.
You could potentially have the number 2 seed, and you can send your division rival home. Fuck yeah!
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that the Eagles fans are fucking begging us to, you know what, take care of your own shit, and maybe you don't need somebody else to take care of it for you.
Yeah,
but anyway,
there were some scary moments last week, though, man. Some guys came up a little hobbled. I'm like, ooh, we need them for the playoffs.
Yeah.
When Kyle Fuller pulls up because it looks like I thought he threw his knee out.
He slipped, yeah.
And it was Soldier Field West, the old Soldier Field. Credit to the Parks Department for actually getting that shit right this year.
I think that's the first time anybody's ever credited the Parks Department. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, credit to them for not having our guys play on a fucking.
Yeah, there was a big talk about it, and that was in the presser also about. I think it was in the presser. I don't remember where I heard it, but about how they sat down with the Parks Department and then they told them that. Oh no, it was on Mike North Advantage yesterday,
and it was on BHL that they Phil talked to Cap about it, and Cap said that there was a lot of conversation about it. But you know what's, and this is kind of off or out there, but the entity that taught the Parks Department about how to manage fields is actually the company that puts on Lollapalooza. Because the first year of Lollapalooza, the Grant Park and the whole everything was trashed, and it was Lollapalooza who showed them how to have these events and make it so that there's a field afterward and to put stuff back in. And obviously they looked at Lambeau, but I mean the Bears have been pleading with the Parks Department forever. Like it's not like all of a sudden just because the Bears got good this year that they figured it out. There's been a few different things where they finally figured out how to have events in Grant Park, in Soldier Field, in these different things, and have the field turn around and not be garbage afterward.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job this year. And I think it's shown. Everybody sees it, and I think it's shown, and it's another reason, that this team is doing what they're doing. Let's get back to this presser. Diddy, I know I mentioned it last week, but I kind of disagree with what Nagy said here, but I believe Nagy knows he can get away with certain play calls and push the envelope because he has that dominant defense. Although he said he doesn't see it that way, I disagree. Are you buying that? Do you think that he doesn't, that he knows that he's got this defense and he can get away with being a little more aggressive?
I think in general he's an aggressive play caller regardless of what the defense is doing. But of course on those like 4th and shorts, those risky go for it things, that's definitely because he has confidence in his defense. I think he's always looking to be aggressive though offensively. But again, those short, when we have to do those trick plays and they don't work and we're like all pissed off, that has a lot to do with the confidence in the defense.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Like he's going to be aggressive even if the defense was garbage. That he would still be aggressive, but I think it kind of gives him a different comfort level.
Right.
Gaines on these division games. Elaborate a little bit on what Coach said on the division games and how much clout it brings to a team and basically what it means to dominate your division.
I mean, it means everything. I mean, it's phenomenal, guys. We keep talking about from worst to first, but to have 0 wins last year, and to man, it's exciting, man. They are gold, but to dominate, not just guys. We just skipped like 2 levels. We just skipped where the Lions have been forever to battle, and that's where Kings of the North, guys. We skipped so many levels of growth within one season. With a new coach, with a new coach with a new quarterback, and it's phenomenal. We dominate our division. We're in the process of dominating our division. I mean, it's pretty damn awesome to say that we're the Kings of the North, and we have opportunities to be the only representative of our division in the playoffs. And so that's why
Yeah.
I know the focus is only going to be to beat the Vikings. We should not be worried about anything else. If we worry about anything else, that's how injuries happen. And so we need to be firing on all cylinders. If we get a bye, that's great. The only thing we can't, if we don't win, we don't get a bye. So we just need to just win, period, and just let the chips fall where they may. But
Yeah, definitely.
We win the game just because F these guys. We've been at the bottom sellers for too long. And now this is our time, and it's scary because we're still just getting better, and we got so much room. We have so much more room for growth, and I see the Packers. I just see other teams going different directions, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, our cellar dweller days are over, I think, for sure, man. And just keeping this thing, and I know like brings for a team because I'm kind of on the opposite side. I think that you would. Playing teams the second time does give you an advantage, and granted, it gives them an advantage too. But I think it's wrong to say that there's nothing that can be brought from it. I mean, there's possibly some complacency, I guess, that you could say gets thrown in for playing teams the second time and what you think they're going to do. And that might come up from that situation. But what do you think about playing teams the second or third time?
I feel like Coach said it best. He's like, down the road, I could see it, maybe not working out in our favor. He goes, but, we're in a new system. This is the first year of this system of me with this organization. And I think that there's things that these teams in this division have yet to see. And I totally think it gives us more of an advantage. It wouldn't surprise me if this time we go to the run game a little bit, you know what I mean? So it's just it's funny how Nagy broke that down, we're new. So there's things that, they may see that they haven't seen yet, and vice versa. I mean, you think about it, I know we'll get to it, but look at from the Vikings side of things, they've had some changes too. So, I think we need to come out. We can keep Minnesota, not let them get that run game going. I mean, we shut them down the last time. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any new wrinkles that Nagy has thrown in for this week for sure.
Yeah, I think so too, man. And I think, keeping these guys, if you're able to keep your division out of the playoffs, I think it says a lot. And especially the way that it came for us. I mean, the Lions were never a threat, right? But keeping the Packers out of the playoffs, and now we got the chance to keep the Vikings out of the playoffs. It's definitely a turn from what we've seen in the past. I know we've already touched on the players and who's going to play, who's not going to play. I'm against resting people.
Yep.
But then again, I'm against resting people that are fully healthy. I'm okay with resting people that maybe have a little pimp limp going or anything like that. Jer, I know he said he's playing it like a regular game, but the situation obviously dictates. I feel that there's guys who may be on a snap count or resting altogether. That if this was a must-win game, they would definitely be playing. I know these guys are probable right now. They're not listed as out yet, but you think we're going to see AR or Eddie Jackson or Fuller and, possibly a light load for Howard on Sunday?
I think it's a possibility. I really think that I hate to say it, that it's going to be dictated by someone else, but it might actually be dictated by someone else. We've talked about everybody's like, well, if we win, well, if Washington wins, what's Minnesota really got to play for? I mean, it's pretty much a done deal, right? If the Eagles win, they're in, or
I think if the Redskins win, the Vikings are definitely in. Somebody might have to go check that, but I think it's if the Redskins knock off the Eagles don't even have a shot to come back.
Exactly. So, I mean, that their portion of the thought process may already be taken care of, and it's really going to depend on what our coaches want to do, which I really feel like the feeling I get is that Nagy's going to play to win, and he feels like he's got enough in the stable, minus me pun. He's got enough in the stable to get it done, whether it's starters or not. I mean, Look at Deion Bush last week coming off the bench, played really well, did not hurt us in one bit. I think we're going to be in pretty good shape, and I think it speaks to the depth of this team. It speaks to the job Ryan Pace has done as a general manager, getting us guys that, I don't want to see Eddie Jackson out there in a limpy fashion. We need that dude. I don't want to see, Aaron Lynch, who is obviously nursing an injury as well.
Yep.
But, I think if you're available, you're playing. I really feel that's the way that this game's going to go. If you're available, you're on the field. Because I don't think Maggie wants to bury these fools. And I really feel that. And that's a message that you send to the divisions, like, motherfucker, we're the Kings, and we're for real the Kings. And it ain't going to matter what you do because it's about what we do.
Yeah, for sure, man. Go ahead, Jimmy. What do you have?
I just want to add a question to this. Is Tariq Cohen necessary? Like, what the hell was that in the presser, man?
Wow.
I don't know.
Of course it's necessary.
No, it's just a stupid question.
No, it was a dumb question. I hate questions.
It was, man.
It was a pretty dumb question, I think. But, I mean, then again, it kind of goes back. The guy probably should have worded, I don't know who asked it, but he probably should have worded it different because Cohen was shut down in that game. And we still managed to come away with it and, still managed. I mean, we turned the ball over with him the one time, and he was pretty much shut down in that game. And I think he was just trying to start a little shit instead of actually getting a solid answer. But another guy, like we were saying, like with Fuller, Jared touched on Fuller, and you know how he came up limp in the one, and it's a possibility that maybe Fuller doesn't, play the full game. But going off of Fuller, we're going to wrap up that Nagy presser, and we're going to roll into that segment. It's time. It's our boy, Ryan Badgley. He's going to highlight the player organization, a little segment that we call Badge of Honor. Badge this week, he's going to go ahead and roll with the guy that gave us a little scare last week, like we were just talking, old Kyle Fuller. So, Badge, you go ahead and take it away whenever you're ready, man.
All right, guys. Yeah, thanks, Bobby. So Kyle Fuller wears number 23 for our Chicago Bears. He plays cornerback, just in case you guys didn't know. Born February 16th, 1992. 26 years old from Baltimore, Maryland. 5'11", 190 pounds. He went to high school at Mount St. Joseph in Baltimore, Maryland, and went to Virginia Tech to where he went to college. He was a first round pick number 14 in the 2014 draft, and he's only been with our beloved Chicago Bears. He was elected to the Pro Bowl this year. He was part of the All-Rookie team in 2014. And in 2013, he was a second-team College All-American, a third-team All-ACC, and an honorable mention All-ACC in 2012. And back in 2011, as a sophomore, he was second-team All-ACC, and he was the 2015 Brian Piccolo Award winner. His career stats for up through week 15, 238 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, no fumble recoveries, 62 pass deflections, and 15 interceptions. And this week, Kyle took part with a few of the other Bears players at Bears Care Holiday Giving Initiative, where approximately 50 families received holiday gifts and joined in on a community dinner at Leo High School with support from Bears Care. And here's a little video of some of that information that we have going on as it gets through an ad here. So Kyle Fuller, he's a guy that has done a lot in our community, in the Chicago community. So here's a little breakdown of that video.
And if you ever saw him, you would even say he glowed like a light bulb.
The Bears are back at Leo High School in the Auburn-Gresham neighborhood of Chicago. We're back for our third year, and we're hosting a family gathering for families that have been impacted by gun violence or experienced extreme hardship during 2018.
There you go. Thanks. You're welcome.
Through the generosity of the Bears staff members, players, and coaches, we're able to let each parent or guardian come in and shop for their kids so they can have a great Christmas like we hope all of our Bears fans have.
How's the food? Is the food good? I want to try some. Yeah, it is good, right? Your mouth is full. Really excited because Bears Care has come back to my district, back to Leo, and it's really uplifting for the neighborhood. So, and Santa's here too. You know? So nice. He's being very nice. Okay. Very nice.
What's up with the cookies, man?
What?
The cookies you were making.
What you trying to say? What about them? I was helping the kids make cookies.
You was helping them make it?
I was.
You was eating all the cookies.
I ate one cookie. Like that? Down and up? I think I won that one.
Why didn't you let him win, though?
Why didn't I let him win?
Yeah.
We going soft on kids now?
Wow.
No, we don't do that.
It's Christmas time, man.
Yeah, I got to give him a gift.
What's the gift? To lose? Let's take an L?
I'm handing them out.
Even though my partner Lauren isn't here, it's not going to take me a lot of effort to make a better cookie than her. Because I know her cookie would be, let's say, a word that rhymes with terrible. Okay, we're going to do a little swirly here. Bam. Bam. We're going to make it look real realistic. We're going to do Bob Ross right here, pretty trees. This way, right here, what you call the Christmas tree cookie. Look at that. Lauren ain't ready. Are you going to say more than 2 words besides hi and bye?
Hey, that's all I got for you.
Come on, man. Tell people something, man.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas?
Yeah.
That's still 2 words, dog.
So there you have it, man. Kyle Fuller, Charles Leno Jr., and Bobby Massey were part of that, as well as Mr. Double A Anthony Adams, not our Double A, Anthony Adams, and
not our blog star.
Yeah, not our blog star. So great event. That was actually held on Christmas Eve. So awesome that the Bears are out there, doing that on Christmas Eve, to get these families out, and parents, if they needed, last minute stuff for their kids, they had it there. And awesome of Kyle Fuller to take part in that. My prediction for Kyle today: 4 tackles, 2 pass deflections, and he's going to pull in an interception, fellas.
Yeah, buddy.
A good day from Kyle.
I think he's still leading the league, right? Still leading the league in interceptions.
He sure is.
Damn straight. Still killing
it. Got that corner lockdown, bro.
Yeah, and what a difference a year makes on everybody who thought that, maybe it wasn't the best to bring him back and this and that, and the barroom pushing that this dude needs to come back, and just what a spark he's done for the team, mm-hmm. and now like Badge has put out there, man, a spark for the community. Great work, Badge. Barflies, as always, if you can afford to support the cause or just give a little something to the foundation of the players that give a little something to us every weekend, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. Get out there, show your support. Congrats to Kyle Fuller on his selection of Badge of Honor, and thank you, Kyle, for what you do for the community. All right, boys, let's keep this thing running. We got a little rematch. It's rematch time. The division rival, little regular season where we can actually walk away with a 5-1 this year. And just shit on this division that has basically shit on us the last couple of years. Let's jump in. Yeah, let's jump into this Vikings offense, and a place that they're really going to have to get going, to make the playoffs. This team, that we can pretty much send packing this week and keep them from making the playoffs. They started off this year as the NFC North favorite, and now they're stumbling into the last game, trying to get there, man. Did these guys dig their own hole, for this playoff thing, or is there any? Do they have playoff potential in your eyes?
They are who they think they are, I think, to some degree, but at the same time, they don't necessarily. They just haven't been able to put it all together. I think that it wasn't the DeFlippo hire didn't work out for them. I think Kirk Cousins isn't that great. I think he's kind of a Stafford. He's a stat compiler. He doesn't play well in good, in big games.
Zero playoff wins.
Yeah, exactly. 0 playoff wins. He's got a terrible record in prime time. He doesn't do well under pressure. I think it was a bad idea to bring this guy onto this team, have him be brand new, and then put him in an offense that he really hasn't run before. And honestly, it's surprising that he's done as well as he has. Really. I think that's why they ran DeFilippo out. Is like, okay, we have to tailor this towards what we have, and what we have, is 2 great receivers, running backs with potential, and an offensive line that's bad. I mean, they have a bad offensive line. So given all that, I mean, I think if you really look at it, they're probably having the season that they should have had. And here they are with a chance to get in the playoffs. That being said, I think they're still dangerous. And Eddie Jackson being out is definitely a concern for me. I think that they can still make some big plays. I think they're still going to push the ball down the field. I think Dalvin Cook is still dangerous, and they're not to be taken lightly. And we're going up there, and that place is loud, and those idiots are going to be wearing their stupid helmets and their ponytails. And I don't think Joe Mandel being in the crowd is really gonna turn the tide. Sorry, Joe.
Bullshit. It's turning the tide.
Hell yeah,
Joe is gonna bring it.
Oh, that's right. Joe said he's going to be drunk and he's got a battery block, so I take it all back.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened when the Pony was in the crowd. Pony was in the crowd at a Vikings game this year for the Bills Vikings, and look what happened there.
That's true. Josh Allen destroyed them. Josh Allen ran all over him, and I'm going to tell you right now, that's a developing situation. I think Mitch Trubisky could have a huge game with his feet.
Yeah, I mean, like AA brought up, there's concerns with Eddie. If Eddie, I mean, I know he's probable, but I don't think he's going to play with Eddie being out, and like the weapons that they do have on the outside. Now they got rid of DeFilippo. They haven't, their game last week against the Lions was kind of miserable, I would say, up until just after the half. I think they had their top two receivers had 1 catch before half. I know I was steady watching because I had them on my fantasy team and they kind of shit all on my leg. But either way, I mean,
a lot of that Hail Mary was a big chunk. I'm sorry, I don't want to jump too far.
No,
into
it was.
Hail Mary.
It was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that end of the half Hail Mary was a big play for them. But those are the type of plays that they get you excited and get your team rolling again. But it's obviously not a skill. I wouldn't say it's a skilled attack type of scheme. You know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, this is all we got left. Let's throw it up and see what happens. Badge, what do you think, man? Badge, what do you think, man? Is this a must win? Is this more of a win for us to eliminate the Vikings than it is for them to basically get us going into the playoffs? I mean, I think it could be, a big building block and a step into the playoffs of we're not here to take anybody's shit.
I mean, I think for us, I agree with you, man. I think we need to beat them, and I think we need to eliminate them from playoff contention. And I mean, obviously, if the Eagles lose, they're fucking in. So, it is what it is. But to me, we need to control our own destiny here. We need to go out, handle our business, not scoreboard watch. I think AA's right. Now, if I'm the Vikings, man, I'm going to Deion Bush. He didn't show up really last week, on the stat sheet all that much, but there wasn't really anything that went his way. I was just rewatching the game a little bit, and I saw him make a couple tackles. But if I'm the Vikings, you got Thielen and Diggs, man. I mean, these guys are all pro receivers. I can definitely see them testing that deep ball with Bush at some point during the game, man. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, sometimes it's good when your corners and safeties or your secondary don't show up on the stat sheet because that means that they're covering their guy and they're doing their job. And,
it's true too.
and nobody's really getting after him. I like what you brought up though with the Eagles and Diddy. If the Eagles lose today in Washington, I mean, our game is really for nothing. It's for nothing for the Vikings. They can't get any bigger or better. They're in, and I mean the Eagles have the early game. So let me run this scenario past you. The Eagles lose. We go to kickoff, and Thielen's out, Diggs is out, Cousins is out, and now the script is flipped, and we're playing our top guys against their fucking backups, trying to push our way into a bye week. Do you think that even comes into play if that happens and Minnesota sits their guys? Because nobody's really talked about that at all.
If they rest their starters, it's going to be practice. Just we gotta. If Nagy said we're playing to win, we're playing to win regardless of what they do. I don't really see them doing that though, man. This is even if the Eagles, whatever happens with them, right? Yeah. They're playing the division champs. The Vikings are playing the champions of their division. This is a game they want to win. This is a game they're gonna. Either way,
let me interrupt you real quick because I probably fucked up a little bit. The Eagles have the same start time as we do. They have a 4:25 game also, so I guess that won't even come to play. My bad.
No, but it doesn't really matter what they do. Just the fact this is a division game. Minnesota wants this. You know what I mean? What a better way to end their season, even if they don't make the playoffs, than to beat the division champs in the last game.
I mean, the same thing comes up though, Bobby. That if for some reason the Eagles just crap the bed. And they're losing to the Redskins, that that could change things for both teams. All of a sudden the Bears and Vikings might go into, like I don't know, like what just popped in my head is that scene in Braveheart where they think the Irish are fighting for them, and then it's just like they all run to the middle of the field and they're like, hey, it's all good. We'll see you in a little while.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be like that, I don't know. It's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, Mike Zimmer came out and he told his team that that the playoffs have already started for them. Obviously, because it's a must win to get in, and he wants the fate to lie in his hands and not the Eagles' hands. But I mean, he told him, I don't know if that really changes this team's mentality. I mean, isn't it always like that? I mean, shouldn't you go into every game that it's a must win? I don't really know how much it changes. Jared, what do you think, man? Do you think it changes the team's mentality, or maybe it pumps them up a little bit, and then that kickoff, it really doesn't fucking matter. It's still the same game no matter what.
Once you kick that ball off, it don't matter. If you're assigned to, say you're going to play, and you're a player, you're going to play. You know what I'm saying? It's like once your mindset is there, once the whistle blows and that kick goes up in the air, it don't matter. You're online. You're in that zone. You're in game mode. I mean, you know it. You've played. I've played. Once you start cracking pads, everything that you think that you think prior to the game kind of goes out the window. It's like, we're here and we're gonna come fuck your day up. That's what we're about.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I think once the kickoff happens,
and I'll tell you straight up, this isn't the same Vikings team we've played the last game. I mean, with DiFilippo out, I mean, they're gonna try to run the ball, and you're gonna see them try to use that outside run. But one of their linemen's Tom Compton. We know Tom Compton. We've seen Tom Compton. He sucks. Say it with me, folks. He sucks.
He sucks.
And that's a starting lineman. That dude couldn't even crack our fucking starting line right now. I mean, just think about that. I mean, we should totally fucking, regardless, I really feel like our defense should go out and dominate this game. I mean, it should be very similar to what we've seen as far as our defensive output and the past games. I mean, if put it on Cousins, please. I mean, Jay Cutler North, let's just call him what he is. He'll throw you in a game, and he will throw you right out of a game.
You're about to piss off Chris right now with them comments, boy.
Fuck
that. I think that's a great point that you make about once the game starts. nobody's thinking about that stuff. I mean, I only played 1 year of high school football, but those games felt like they lasted about 10 minutes. Once the first whistle started, it was just like, what? Okay, we're going on the field. Holy crap! I mean, it's just you're on adrenaline. Like you're not thinking about the damn clock and this, that, and the other. It's just like, and that's why coaching is so important. I mean, obviously these are pros, and I'm not even remotely comparing my 1 year of freshman football to that. These are pros who've been doing it their whole lives, but that's why coaching is so important, is because you need a coach who's, gonna kind of herd the cats in a way.
Yeah. What position did you play? I'm curious.
I was a backup offensive guard, and I was on kickoff.
Nose. Oh, I thought you'd play the nose. I would have had you in the. I would have had you in the nose, bear crawling into the fucking A gap.
I tried to play in practice a couple times, and I got blown up.
Dude, I honestly think, though, I kind of think this was a bad move by Zimmer. For him to, I mean, yeah, your team already knows. You don't need to tell your team, if you lose, you're out. I think it kind of we already know that this team can't perform in prime time. We know they can't perform in big games. We know Cousins doesn't have any playoff wins. And now you put this added pressure on your team to tell them shit that they already know, that if you don't win, you're going home. I think it's
this. Oh shit!
I think it's a shitty move. No, go ahead, man.
Think about this, man. They were just a few short weeks ago. They were having problems with players not listening to the coaching staff. This team. So was that part of DiFilippo, and now this new guy they got on, Schlesinger or whatever the hell his name is, has he rectified it? To me, it seemed more on the defensive side of the ball from what Zimmer was saying in that press conference, when he said they didn't have guys listening and whatnot. So I don't think this team is really fully together. I definitely don't think they really are, and I think we can go out and exploit them, and I honestly believe that's what's going to happen.
Gaines, coming over to you, man. You think so? I know we've been saying it and that, but this team, it's a good team, but they've had a lot of average numbers. They got big performers who produce big every now and then, but all in all, they've been pretty mediocre. Do you think this team is deserving of a playoff spot?
Deserving. I mean, they're still a quality defense. They're still a quality defense. It's just like, hey man, their leadership is broken, and I'm actually laughing at the fact that they got rid of Filippo so fast. Yeah. I mean, he was with the Eagles last year, right? Am I wrong?
I know.
He was a good coach, and he was well sought after. So for them just to, I mean, I love it. Any turmoil in the division, I'm glad. So I'm mad at all their mistakes. I'm mad at all of them. I'm about to laugh at it for the next 5 years. But I just think they're a quality team. Thielen is a threat. Diggs is a threat. These are good players, and so Cousins can give you three picks, or he can throw for 500 yards. We have to do what we got to do. We're trying to be the Super Bowl champs. I don't really care about what they got going on. We got to respect our opponent regardless and handle our business. And so that's why I love the fact that our leadership is intact. Because, guys, we're going to have a hat on the hat. You block your guy. You block whoever's in front of you. If they have guys out, it don't matter. If they have guys out, cool. My man Diddy said it. Practice. I'm down there. Because I think Allen Robinson might be out. Our smart guys should be out. Eddie Jackson shouldn't play. It's a soft ankle is soft tissue. Like we're gonna need him for the playoffs. It's December. Like that's just not a smart move to have. Hey,
that's the real doctor talking right there. Gaines, the real medical background. We ain't talking about draft doctoring. We're talking about real medical background doctors giving you what's good.
we just gotta be smart. When it comes to the playoffs, we're gonna have more physical. We're gonna have more physical DBs. So Allen Robinson, those alien things should be out. But we got.
All right, so let me flip this thing real quick. I know we said, are they deserving of a playoff spot? I'm going to come over to Badge and Diddy, though. But let me kick this thing. Badge, we'll come to you first. So maybe everybody says they are deserving because of the players they have and whatever, right? How about this? Is there any NFC team that's already in the playoffs that looks at their schedule and is worried about playing the Vikings?
Absolutely not. I mean, the Vikings have already played the Saints. So I think they've already played the Eagles as well. So I don't see any other team in the NFC playoffs worried about the Vikings. No way.
What about you, Diddy? You think anybody's coming in, or is the Vikings the team that people want to play to get in, or to their first round of the playoff? I mean,
I think they're a team you have to be concerned with, man. I had them winning the division before the season started. I just think it's one of those scenarios. They played. I'm not making excuses for these idiots, but they did play a first place schedule. I've seen this. I've seen this before in the NFL, man. You get a team. The Giants have done it, where you get a team, they underperform, but they just squeak into the playoffs. Everybody was expecting higher things regular season, but it's really about when good teams hit their stride.
Yeah.
And they're hitting their stride right now. And if they continue that into the playoffs, they could be very dangerous. They have they have talent. Cousins can play well. It's inconsistent, but all it takes is getting into the dance. And if you have a solid core of players and you're on a streak, you're dangerous.
Yeah.
And then Bobby, real quick, the co-sign with Didi real quick. You look at the last 3 playoff teams that the Vikings have played. They lost to Seattle. They lost to Seattle, a team that we beat, and the 49ers just beat. You see what I'm saying? And so when you talk about deserving, they lost to the Bears. They lost to the Patriots. When's the last time they had a quality victory?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they can't string together those tough games.
And it's also a team with playoff experience. They were in the NFC Championship game last year.
Yeah, but that's different. Isn't it a different team though? I mean, you changed the leader, you changed the play caller, you changed the quarterback. I mean, I think it's a different team. It still has the same chemistry, but I think the nucleus has changed a little bit. And honestly,
that's what makes this year very special for us. We have to capitalize on our year now because next year's not guaranteed. You look at Minnesota, a team that took a miracle play in Minneapolis to get them to the NFC Championship game, but they made that play, and there they are. And they're one game away from a Super Bowl. It's not guaranteed, boys. It's just not, Everybody's like, well, Mitch is this and Mitch is that. Mitch has got us in a position where we are we could potentially be 2 games away from being in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. I mean, where were we at last year? We wanted to fire it. We wanted everybody fired and probably shot by firing last year. This year, it's like, wow, man, we are right there. We are right fucking there, and we've got a chance. And for everybody that says that Mitch Trubisky is inconsistent and this and that, give me Mitch Trubisky over Kirk Cousins any day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That motherfucker shows up with his feet. He shows up with his brain. And he's not going to throw you out of a football game like Kirk Cousins does.
And he's building. I mean, he's steadily building. Let's run into this Vikings defense. I know we talked about the offense and that, but this defense has come out as a top 3 defense now. Against the Vikings team, I mean, they turned around a bit since we last played them. I know every game's different, but they just came off of playing the Lions that they held to all field goals, kind of the same way we did with San Francisco. They did, played them last week. I mean, we had a good run in the first game up until I think it was like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We were up 22-6. 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and we only ended up winning that game 25-20, I think. Do we come out and make a statement on this team, knowing that they're the number 3 defense? Do we use them as our catapult into, chemistry going into the playoffs, or what?
I don't think we need to. I think that we just ride our own horse. We just took the title from you guys, and I think it's going. It might be a boxing match, Bobby. I mean, the coaches these guys. This defense remember celebrating last year the division title, and the last time we played them, they were the champs. And so now, and here we are now, we the champs. And so I think it's gonna be a boxing match. I'm not taking the game lightly. I don't care who plays, honestly. And I just hope that we respond. I just hope we respond. And as in keep seizing the moment, because honestly, this is playoff practice. This is a playoff caliber team. This was a team that was a half away from going to the damn Super Bowl. And so we can, everything else aside, the playoffs start for us too. This is new tested waters. Each game right here is the most important game that a Bears fan has had in over a decade. And so for us, man, it doesn't matter. This is a playoff team. We need to come here, act like we are a playoff team, that we are deserving as such. And we need to act like we are NFC contenders, period.
Yeah, I like what you said there, though, man. I would much rather play this team that has potential and has a shot than to say play the fucking Lions in week 17. I think this is really like a game that can show, like, fire our team up going into the playoffs. Diddy, what do you feel about this team? Like, they're teetering on making the playoffs, but they're listed as a top 3 defense. Is anything on this defense, have you concerned for how we go into this game?
They're very good at getting pressure with the front four. Zimmer's good at scheming the defense. He's a really good defensive coach. As far as being worried, I think Hunter's a guy. I mean, he's a pretty good pass rusher, and that, lack of a better term, dirty fuck Harrison Smith. I think Griffin not being there early in the season affected them, and he's a hell of a player too. And Barr didn't play last game against us, man, and he's somebody you got to be concerned with. So we definitely have to play well. I mean, these guys can get pressure. Our O-line has to step up like they have in the last couple of weeks, and but this isn't going to be an easy game.
And with Allen Robinson out, Xavier Rhodes, who is he going to check? He's going to be on the top receiver.
Yeah.
And so it's going to make for Mitch have to do something even more.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I don't know. We got the defense, right? We know that they're a top 3. I think it gives Coach Nagy more of a reason to go out and try to scheme against them and put up massive points against a team like, that has a great defense. Flip it around though, like AA coming at you, man. If this defense shuts our offense down and goes in and kind of, and doesn't allow us to put up numbers or score, what does that do for us going into the playoffs where we just played this team that kind of, that put a hurting on us?
I mean, I look at this game as I think it's a really good test. I think it's just another measuring stick for us. I think, you're basically playing against a team that is in a playoff scenario. Because let's be honest, the reality of Washington beating Philadelphia is pretty much a reach. Yeah. So, I'm excited to see this test. I mean, this is somebody brought up, I think maybe it was on Hogan John's, brought up that, the Bears have not really played quote unquote tough road games so far, or at least road games that we felt were going to be tough. They've made road games that they played probably tougher than they needed to be. See the Giants game, see the 49ers game, see the Dolphins game. But those were all games that I marked down as wins for us. And we lost 2 of those games and almost lost, not almost lost, but we made the 49ers game probably more difficult than it needed to be. So, I mean, I think that this is a great measuring stick, a great test. It's a great little playoff preview. Mitch getting, in a hostile environment, it's going to be loud. Those Vikings fans are going to be fired up. And at the end of the day, I mean, if this defense, shuts us down, or if Mitch has a bad game, it's definitely not how you want to go into the playoffs. But I also think that one thing that this team has done very well is they have turned the page, and they have, kind of taken this one game at a time mentality, which is super cliche, but I think, you have to do that. And I think something that's interesting too is, and I'm glad that it's happened, is they've kind of toned down on the theatrics with the celebrations and stuff. Like, it's kind of like, okay, that was fun, but now we're expected to do this. You know what I mean? Like, it's business time. You know what I mean? Like, we're not rowing the boat, and I mean, it's fine to do a little dance, but like the full on choreographed, touchdown celebrations have kind of fallen by the wayside, and now it's business time. So I mean, I think they need to go up there and they need to have a business performance. I don't think they have to go up there and Mitch has to throw 4 touchdowns and 300 yards. I mean, if he puts up the stat line that he put up in San Francisco and they win the game, I'm happy as can be.
Yeah, I mean, you can win a playoff game fucking 29-28, and guess what? You're still winning. It really doesn't matter. I like the little piece there, though, on the whole theatrics and kind of checking it down. I do think that they know when to celebrate. They don't celebrate when the game's close. It's more of a celebration when they know they've put it away, and it's a time to. I think they kind of relax, and then they get into the celebration thing. You'll see it like normally. Like the first touchdown of the game, if they go up, and then you see it like once the game's away. But I do think that that's kind of been put in check. But I do believe that these players are still out there like having fun and just doing it, man. And that's something that's changed over the years for us.
Totally.
Hey, let's not overlook the fact that we could potentially get yet another coach fired with a win this week. I mean, for real.
Yeah, I know.
I think Zimmer's on a super hot seat right now.
Yeah, but
you don't fire your OC and.
I'm reluctant to think that players go into games saying, "Well, let's go get this bitch fired." You know what I mean?
I'm just saying the potential's there that you could change the dynamic of your division tenfold by going out and just burying the Vikings. I mean, if you bury them,
what do you think? How do you think they feel about getting? How do you think these other teams in our division feel about getting John Fox fired?
Well, they're probably hating it right now.
I think John. I don't think they think that. I think John Fox fired himself. I don't.
Correct.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
Don't ask him though.
I don't think Zimmer's on the hot seat that much, to be honest.
Speaking of firings, Badge, let's come to you, man. The recent firing of DiFilippo, the defense now has turned a corner on this team. I know he's not any part of the defense, but is there something to be said about the way the offense complements the defense and, that these guys are now hitting a stride right before the playoffs?
100%, man. I mean, the new guy likes the run game. And if you're able to pick up some decent yardage in the run game, what do? You give your defense a breather. And, this is a team that early on in the year, they had a lot of 3 and outs. I mean, even in the start of the Detroit game last week, they had, a bunch of 3 and outs. They weren't moving the ball. They were struggling, completing passes, and some of that's Cousins. So I definitely think that has an effect. I think DiFilippo was more about the pass game. I mean, you saw it early on. Thielen had 8 straight 100-yard games, and then Diggs coming up right behind him, and he had a few big games as well. So, absolutely, 100%. I think it affects the defense. If you have a fresh defense on the field, there's more of an opportunity for them to make more plays. Look at us. I mean, we have instances where we have long drives and the defense comes out and has a takeaway or a return, a pick six or a fumble return for a touchdown. That's what you're looking for from your offense, is to keep your defense fresh, and having a run game. I think with the new guy that's really given this defense time to adjust, time to look at things and keep them fresh throughout a game.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it's a thing. It's you control that ball, you control that time of possession, and your defense is gonna love you for it. And they get more time to not chill, but more time to look at what the offense is doing on the little, on the damn, what do you want, the iPads or the Mac Pros or whatever the hell they're using, and it gives them more time to scheme and decide what they're going to do coming back out on the field. All right, let's move over to our boys. Let's move over to our offense. That we know that this thing has turned a corner, and it's got the sneaky good weapons everywhere. I mean, the majority of us had this team, the Bears, as a 11-5 team this year. Some people had them just above 500-ish, but 12-4 really. It seemed like, too good to be true. Definitely, I mean, I don't think any of us had them 5-1 in the division, which is a possibility right now. I think, the majority of us picked maybe a drop a game to the Vikings, drop a game to the Packers. Who knows? There's a toss-up with the Lions. But, we'll call it like it is. Even though we weren't expecting a run this early, or this year, I guess, and getting to the playoffs, maybe wasn't something that we deemed as definite. I think an early playoff exit at this point would be completely fucking crushing. Even though it's a great season, we did what we did. Can any of you say that your first year, yep, it was great, and let's build from here? Is there anything? Do hopes and dreams get crushed with an early playoff exit?
Absolutely.
And that's Diddy. Why don't you go ahead and take that one, man? What do you think?
I'd be very disappointed if we had an early exit in the playoffs. I just think riding this season out, seeing how it's just like a dawning of a new era. You know what I mean? And it would be crushing, because I think my thought the whole season's been we have the talent to beat anybody in the league as long as we're executing. So I'm very confident in this team going into the playoffs, and it would be devastating as a Bears fan.
Yeah, I think so too, man. And I'm like, so that's what gets me back and forth on this whole resting players or not resting players. You would hate, and I'm not even going to say the words out loud. You guys already know what I'm talking about. If something happens in that game, and we kind of cripple ourselves or put ourselves at a disadvantage going into the playoffs, as well as I do how it's going to come out across the media and how it's going to come out when you played a dude that you didn't have to play. And I'll just stay with you, Diddy, on this one, I guess. It could matter. The game could matter to us, but it might not. This whole situation, we're relying on the Niners to take down the Rams. And if that's not the case, do you pull Howard out and keep him for the maybe minimize his touches and keep him for the playoff run? Or are you just saying, fuck it, let's play everybody and go, and injuries are a thing of luck, and if bad luck comes, it comes?
I really, I know. Somebody mentioned earlier, Mitch is definitely going to be able to run this game, but after what happened against these idiots last time, man, I don't know if I want to expose Mitch too much. I'd rather rely on Howard getting those running yards, and I think this is a game. I think we've been waiting for it all season, where this could be the Jordan Howard game. There's not a lot of mileage on those tires this season. He's fresh. He's about 170 yards short of 1,000. I think this could be. I really do think this could be the big Jordan Howard game we've all been waiting for all season. And drive it like you stole it. You know what I mean? Like, just go out with him. I think he could be dominant in this game.
Yeah, I don't know why it just made me think of that, but I seen somebody put on Twitter the other day that this is going to be the Kevin White game. They call it Kevin White's going to get 300 yards.
I don't even know why I said what I said. My bad. Whoever said that beat me.
That'd be awesome.
No, that's that crew of guys that plays that Kevin White game on Twitter.
But it's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah,
Gaines,
it's funny.
Wouldn't it be awesome?
Gaines, like we said before, this game could really set the pace for us going into the postseason, man. Everybody talks about the defense, what they bring to the table. But, imagine if we do come out, and like AA said before, if we Trubisky throws for 4 touchdowns in the first half, and our offense just fucking destroys this Vikings, defense, and sets the table for us to run into the playoffs, man. How big of a game? How much does that bring to this team heading into the playoffs if it happens?
It makes it surreal. What that does, that means we get to turn the page that much faster, honestly. Obviously, we'll get to support our brothers that are still on the field battling in the game and make sure that we get out of this. If that's the case, then we want to get injury-free as possible, because even our backups and our depth is just as important. That's when depth comes into play is in the playoffs. So we don't need injuries on special teams either. And so it's gonna be a surreal moment. But that's when it's surreal. That's when we get locked in, Bobby. You talked about an early exit. As soon as this game's over, there's nothing really to celebrate. It's game on. It's going to be game on. By the game is over, we'll know whether we have a bye or not. But it's like, that's when the real work begins. We finally got a ticket back to the dance, and we're back in the show. And so that's when it's time to go to work. You got to work on our bodies. That's when everything else that we've done so far gets amplified by 10 to the 20th power, man. Because that's when it's like there is no more weeks. It's win or go home. This ain't basketball. You see what I'm saying? And so it gets real
Definitely.
at that point, man. It gets real. And so it's a whole city behind this team. It's a whole nation behind this team. And damn it, I'm gonna call it America's new team because we coming from worst to first, and nobody in the world outside of Bears Ballroom that I know gave us the damn shot, a shot at it. And it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see what good leadership does. What if Nagy came in here and was like, we're going to do it my way and my way only? And what if he didn't cater to Vic? What if he was so hell-bent on being a head coach that he didn't want to take any mentorship from Ryan Pace? I mean, it's really, really awesome to see what happens when people come together and they can realize, hey, the more heads we have in this thing, the better. Now, there's obviously one person riding the wheel to this thing as we have our leadership intact, but we have such a leadership in place. He empowers our position coaches to do their job. And that's what's really awesome to see, man. And it's going to be a great show that they're going to put on for Chicago's fans in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I mean, the strides this team has shown this season in building off of wins, and then like the camaraderie, the chemistry, everything that is kind of that other teams are trying to copycat now and trying to do is just, I mean, it's been a magical fucking season, man. And doing like ending it early would just be a fucking like horrible, I think. But I mean, the core is there and the chemistry is there, and I think we're really building something special that's going to carry us well into more games and into further seasons. And I mean, Jared, if we come out and we fucking destroy him, or if we come out and we lay an egg, I don't know if it really matters to the next game the way that these guys have been playing. I mean, we seen the game prior to St. Louis, or not St. Louis. What the fuck am I saying? Now I sound like Stephen A. Smith. The prior to the Rams, you know, prior to LA, where
Kurt Warner was playing.
Yeah, where we didn't really execute, but then against the Rams, we executed. And I believe this team, it isn't a cliche mentality of one game at a time. I think that's really how they look at games and get after things, man. What do you think? Do you think that that's how they are? Do you think that they have the goal that's there and that's all that they're looking for? It's not a one game at a time thing.
I think this team has shown throughout the season that they answer the bell. You know, they answer the call. They answer the challenge. They're not afraid of it. They're not afraid of the moment. They're not afraid of being, as Coach Nagy says, as being you. You know, they're not afraid to be you. And I love the mentality of, you know, we lay an egg in Miami, and let's just call it what it was. We laid an egg in Miami, and we still had a chance to win that game. They've not been – is there a game that we've been out of? No. We've been in every game because this team has the mentality of a fighter. They are a prize-fighting champion, you know, and I hope that we get to show that on a grander scale to people that don't get it, because this team, it's built for that. I mean, they've shown it. You know, you go to the Giants game that you were at, we weren't out of that game. I mean, there was a minute where it looked kind of skittish, and then all of a sudden, look at us, here we go. You know, we're right in it. We're going to take you to overtime. I mean,
and I think
this team, it's a championship mentality, though. You've got to be able to answer the bell, and whenever things are against you or things don't look your way, you got to show up, and this team shows up, and that's why I have the utmost confidence.
I think that's exactly. I think they do play it one game at a time, and that Giants game, like you're saying, is the perfect example of it. I mean,
yes,
we go up against the Giants, and the Giants put up 30 points against us, you know, in an offense that has struggled, and they put up 30 points against our defense, and then the next week we come out against the number one offense and a high flying, you know, point scoring offense, and we only give up 6 to them.
The law firm put them on lockdown on that game.
Yeah, and I do think that it's, you know, for them it actually is, you know, one game at a time. And I think the chemistry and all that is going. Now, like, you know, to kick off a chemistry here, AA, in an interview with Mac yesterday, one of the reporters, somebody asked him, they talk of Kyle Long coming back, and the smile on Mac's face as soon as they mentioned it I started laughing like nothing was said. He just, like, the shit-eating grin that they put on his face was crazy. And he had some great things to say about Long and the way that he does things. What do you think the return of Long would do for this offensive line? And could it hurt the chemistry at all of what we're currently going with?
Well, I think one thing is Long never left. I think he's been a huge part of this team behind the scenes. Obviously he has not been on the field. He hasn't played, but in a lot of ways he has not ever left. So what I think is awesome, and I think why guys want him to get back out there and why fans want him to get back out there, is so that he gets to enjoy some of the spoils of victory. And no, I don't think it's going to disrupt any chemistry to have that guy out there, because it's not like, he went home to his house in Malibu and he's just been chilling. And it's like, oh, guess what? I'm healthy, boys. I'm coming back to my starting job. Where my cleats at? Like, no, he's been there. And I think, so has Zach Miller, and, who can't play. But I think, the Bears did an amazing thing by giving him a contract, because they knew how important he was to the chemistry of that team. And what I think is, special, just to kind of circle back to what you guys were talking about a minute ago, is they've created this culture of, and then get back to work. It's a very modern way of thinking that it's okay to enjoy what you do, and if you think about it, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, these are football players and they're amazing athletes and they're amazing, these superheroes almost in a sense, but they're also just dudes going to work, and every one of us has a job that, on certain days you're like, yeah, this is cool. I'm enjoying this. I feel like my time spent here is good. And then there are days where you're just like, no matter what is going on, this job is bullshit. And it doesn't feel like what I want to be doing. But what I think Nagy has done a really good job of is he has gotten everybody to believe in their job, like their day-to-day clock in and do something job, whether or not they get. I mean, I really believe it when, Anthony Miller says, because somebody asked him, you haven't been very involved in the offense the previous couple of weeks. And I really believed it when he said, that's okay because we're winning. You know what I mean? Like, and this is a guy who, who keeps his swag on 11 at all times. Yeah. And for him to really say that and believe it, it's huge, and I think that's what they've really done a good job of, is involving everybody and getting everybody to feel a part of things. And whether or not it's, Taquan Mizell or Mike Burton or, whoever the case may be, Joel Abunyiwe, all these guys, I mean, everybody's involved. Everybody feels a part of this. They're all pulling on the rope in the same direction, and they're winning. I mean, a lot of things that, get a lot of hype can go the other way if they don't win. But for me, at the end of the day, if they don't win in the playoffs, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. But I will not say that it's going to be devastating, because this team is young. And I do believe that there's been a real culture change up at Hallis. And I feel like we're ascending. We're still an ascending team, even if we lose in the playoffs, and so, Kyle Long coming back, I love it. I want him back. I mean, but he never left to me.
Yeah. Going back. I want to just said, I think it's a big point with Miller saying, yeah, but we got the W. I remember earlier in the year, we were talking on one of the shows where, Cohen didn't have that great of a game. And one of the reporters were like, well, you kind of were off today, whatever. And his response was basically, but did you see Turbo? Did you see what he did today? Like, his response was celebrating what his other receivers did. And then I know we talked about it other times where Robinson said it and Gabriel said how Cohen. And I think it is a great chemistry that's going on there. And I really don't think that we have a guy that's going to write a book that says, throw me the fucking ball. You know what I'm saying? I think what we have, and then with Kyle coming back, I mean, Kyle, he practiced the last 3 days, full practice. Full practice the last 3 days. And Badge, I'll come over to you because I'm not sure when the right time would be, but I kind of want to throw this out. You think if Long comes back and plays Sunday, that he's, is better or ready, like more ready to roll into the playoffs? Or do you think it's bigger for this team on that first playoff game to be let out on the field by Kyle Long?
Dude, I'm going to say this. So when the season started, I don't think Long was 100% healthy. So when he got hurt, I think it gave him time to rest the rest of his body, work on that ankle. And now I really believe that he's fully 100% healed. And, in my badge of honor, I said he was coming back this week. And now then I said he was going to lead us to a division title, which we've already gotten. But now he's going to be the leader that leads us into the playoffs and helps us get to a Super Bowl championship. So him coming back, I mean, we mentioned it earlier, him being on the sideline last week and being the guy kind of trying to calm things down. Kyle is a vital part to this team. And I think him coming back is huge, not only for this week, but going forward as far as we go in the playoffs.
I think so too, man. I think he brings a different atmosphere. I just kind of think that I don't know if I would personally, especially in a game that's, I mean, I know we've said it. We said some say it matters, some say it doesn't. I don't know if I would really put him in this week. I think I save him and I let him lead the team out onto the field for that first playoff game and let the hype train roll from there. Granted, if he's got full practices, they're not like playing in games, but it's still contact and it's still testing and it's still getting things done.
I know Diddy's got a different feel on Kyle Long than most of us, and he's said
I love Kyle Long, man. He's a leader. I just think that if it's really up to the coaching staff, if they feel that he's ready to execute, then I'm good with it as long as he's ready to execute. You know what I mean? Because the O-line's been decent the last couple of weeks. That's my only thing. As far as it's absolutely going to give the team a boost when he's back. He's just that kind of personality. He is a leader on this team.
Yeah, I mean the whole offense has been good. Like, let's not, it's not like he's the missing piece or whatever. But I think AA said it a couple of weeks ago. And a 90% Kyle Long is better than 100% Whitman. Better than 100% other player that we might have. I mean the last game, I mean, we can get off the offensive line, but the last game, the production has been sneaky, man. We've had 10 separate players, like we said earlier, with a pass catch. Nobody went over 100 yards, but we still had the 200 and whatever, 40 or 20 yards passing. Tariq was a non-factor, like we said before, but we still came away with the W. We still had, however many, 7 different people carry the ball, 10 different catches. I mean, we spread the love around and we're able to do things. What are you looking for, or how does that bother you at all, that there's not a straight game maker and game player for those situations? Or do you think we just haven't had to show it yet?
I mean, if we can spread the ball around and beat teams and use all our weapons, that's always a good thing. Cohen frustrates me because in my feeling, if he would just hit his lane and then dance in the secondary, I think he'd be a lot more effective instead of doing all the shifting before he goes forward. I think that it's a hard way to make a living in the NFL. These guys are a lot faster now. You know what I mean? Than back in the day when they're comparing them to Barry and all this stuff. But I think Cohen has the potential to have a lot more impact if he just tweaks a couple things. But I think spreading the rock around and getting everybody involved is a good thing. You don't know where we're gonna. You don't want Mitch becoming reliant on one guy, and it keeps the defense just second guessing where are they gonna attack from. So I think it's a good thing to spread everything around.
Yeah, me too, man. I like the either way the spreading the love around, going around, and I mean. I don't think after we signed Gabriel and Robinson, any of us would have said that we're going to Bellamy across the middle on a needed third down. But that's where we're at. Like the confidence in these receivers is definitely 1,000 times better than it was last year. I know they're different players, but just the confidence in Bellamy alone has definitely been a huge increase. If you guys got nothing left on this offense, we're gonna move into this defense, and then we'll get to our predictions. Predictions we changed up a little bit today, but if we ain't got nothing left on this offense, let's move into this defensive and pressure in that. Gaines, we'll come to you, man. I'll come to you on defensive pressure first. So the defense, I think they need to dial up the pressure. Play this team like we played them earlier in the season. Cousins, this offensive line of the Vikings has kind of been trash. Cousins has been sacked 36 times this year, and he's just fucking out here begging to be put over 40. Do you think we can push him to the 40 mark or what, man?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I think Lynch is going to be out, but I think we're going to do just that. I don't know if we're going to have. I saw Deion Bush come down for maybe a safety blitz once or twice. I don't know where the pressure's going to come from, but I hope we do bring it. Thielen and them have been struggling. He's been going to Diggs a lot recently, and a couple of prayers to Rudolph. But I want them to let's put them away. They want to go down. Let's help them lay down. I don't care about the Redskins and whatever everything else. This game alone, I hope we just shut them up. This is like we're gonna put the division in a headlock and we're gonna beat his ass to the ground. And this is a great way to do it. And so why not bring the pressure anyway? Let's get some more experience with Roquan Smith. Is it gonna be a gap or this outside contain? It's practice, man. Practice. Every man to their zone. We did a great job last week by bending and not breaking. Let's continue with the same. This offense will stretch us in a different way from the slot position and from the drag routes. And Cook can be dangerous. So this is more. I just want to see better outside contain. We lost outside contain at least 3 to 4 times last game, and so those type of things can kill us in the playoffs. And so bring the pressure from the outside, or bring the pressure from the outside, shut Cousins down, but Cousins will fold if we can bring an A gap.
Yeah, another thing that I think last game that I know we haven't really mentioned, but Kittle was a big issue. We knew he was going to be an issue, and I don't know if I can't specifically remember if we've had any teams that come out with dominant tight ends.
No, it's because Eddie Jackson. It's because Eddie Jackson was out, and we talked about it last week. Because the safety has that responsibility, and so we called it last week. And the young man went right to it. Kettle, boom, boom, boom. Clark, right, boom, boom, boom. And then with Deion Bush playing off a little bit, and so we got to tighten up. And so Rudolph just woke up after sleeping for 16 weeks. So it's not an ideal spot for Bush to be in. But Bush was decent. I didn't see any missed tackles. I just saw a little soft coverage. But
I think so too. What do you think, AA? Like, you think this is a big game for Rudolph, and that teams know that they can utilizing this tight end is maybe a weakness for our defense now?
To some degree. We're weaker up the middle without Eddie Jackson for sure. So, it only makes sense that they're going to test us that way. It also, I think you've seen Roquan coming on the blitz a little bit more. So, that might be something that if that happens, then the seam or the tight end, slant could be the hot route. The one thing about Rudolph, and I even mentioned this before that he started going off, but I think he's the one that caught that Hail Mary, right?
Yeah, he did
in the game. So that's a little bit of an inflation. That was 75 yards. But you know what? Kudos to the offensive coordinator, the new guy. It's like, I don't know why they forgot that Rudolph existed up until,
I don't know if that was 75 yards. I highly doubt he threw the ball 75 yards into the end zone. But I get what you're saying.
No, but I think it wasn't a 75-yard play or something, though. I thought it was like, I don't know. Maybe I'm misspeaking, but he caught it was an inflation of his stats.
Yeah, it was.
Troy loves to give up Hail Marys, and they gave it up. But yes, sure. I think Rudolph. I don't know why Rudolph has been the odd man out up until this point. He's to me, he was like for years he was like the only guy on the Vikings. That was like fantasy startable, and this set until Thielen and Diggs came along. So yeah, you got to watch out for that guy.
especially with the fact that Kittle was like the focus at one point for the Niners offense. They were losing couple of their main guys, and Minnesota has more guys you have to account for. So I think Rudolph's going to be a lot more open than just focusing. They had to focus on Kittle last week. You know what I mean? He was there. He was just go to. Where Rudolph may get some better looks because you do have to account for other playmakers on their team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. I think that I think Rudolph might come out and have a big game. I think it's about checking him at the line, getting him, don't let him out of there. Maybe, stand him up at the line, get a little bump and run going, whatever. But either way, I think he's going to be one of their focus points, and you can't take away from the other guys on this team that, that bring it every week. This defense, though, man, I mean, Sunday, this defense, they have a chance to close out a fucking remarkable season, man, and do things that, many didn't think was possible for the Chicago Bears team. Just wrap up this thing real quick. We'll get into predictions and that here in a minute, but Jared, what do you think this defense, what has this defense fucking meant to you this season, and how have they turned this team around and given Mitch time to develop as a quarterback?
Well, it's always a great asset to know that you can be a little risky sometimes as an offense because of your defense, because I think at one point didn't they have 6 3-and-outs in a game?
Yeah,
simultaneously. How comforting is that? That your defense has got it on lockdown. And getting timely turnovers, and I think we said it in more than one game where we've kind of been going back and forth during the game. It's like, man, we need a turnover, and then boom. I know Gaines has done it at least twice. It's just like, boom, there it is. There's the turnover that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's
dude, every time there's a turnover, I wait for Gaines to pop up in the chat with a boom.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying, though? It's that's the kind of confidence that we as fans have. Can you imagine what it's like to be opposite of that team? To be on the offense and be like, look at these guys. Glad we don't have to play. Glad we play them in practice and not in real life. You know what I'm saying?
With this defense, the offense gets to be like Donkey to Shrek. You know what I mean? Just run around and run our mouths and swag out because we got a big bully hanging out behind us just waiting.
Yeah, right,
it's and I think that's. I don't know if Nagy would have played it any differently if this defense wasn't like that, or if they gotten Khalil Mack. But at the end of the day, that's given them the credit and the ability to go out and do that kind of stuff. And what's cool, and it's a credit to all these guys, is that when the offense has done that and done some weird crap and it hasn't worked, the defense, they don't sulk. They go out there and it's like, okay, good, let's go. Another opportunity for us to do what we do.
Yeah.
And, Chicago defense is back.
Yeah, and I think that there's one thing that we've all kind of missed. I know we talk about Trubisky's development and the offense developing. But Diddy, coming at you, man, at the beginning of the season, they started off dominant, but then the defense couldn't really close it out. We had problems closing out games. We talked about how many points we given up in the fourth quarter and all that. But now we're as of recently, we're carrying out this dominance throughout the game and closing these games out. How much do you think that this defense has grown throughout the year and with that ability to close a game out?
I think a lot of it. I think a lot of it was scheming by Vic. I think he liked to play off at the end of games, and I think they changed that up, and they're just playing more aggressive, and guys are just getting more comfortable, and they're just balling out, man. This has been. I was 7 years old in '85, so. At that point in life, it's like you're not feeling the vibe. They're a good team. You don't really understand the full impact of it. You can watch highlights and whatever. This is the first Bears defense, man, in my lifetime that I've been in the moment of. That it's just like you're almost like going into these games watching them with a swagger. Like, this defense is the shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is the best defense that I've lived in the moment with as a fan. Where it's just like. The most complete defense, just it's it's just a great thing to watch as a Bears fan, man. And I mean, they added Khalil and Roquan to already top 10 defense, and these guys have exceeded my expectations, man. It's this defense is
better
just,
than us.
I think so, man. I really do, and I think that Pace was able to put a great defense, like you said, Bobby. They're so good. We won the division while giving our young quarterback the room to grow and the room to get comfortable and learn on the job, man.
Yeah,
it's just been awesome. It's just been an incredible season, man.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we close this thing out with just killing it this last game of the regular season, because that's where that's kind of where everything stops for the season. When it comes to talking about that, the playoffs, we all know are it's a game to game, man. Anything happens in the playoffs, and shit happens, like magic happens every year in the playoffs. Badge, last time we played the Vikings, dude, we got 2 picks, 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. I know we already predicted 1 for Fuller, 1 interception for Fuller this week, but you think this is going to be the same type of battle or what for this game?
I definitely do. I mean, we jumped out to an early lead the last time and had to, kind of hold them off per se to close out the game. I think compared to that last time, we're at a different place defensively. I think Vic recognizes that, let's just keep playing our game plan. And I definitely think, Fuller's going to have one. I definitely could see us getting another. Diddy just talked about Khalil Mack and his impact, man. He was the one that ripped the ball out and forced that fumble and then recovered it while 2 offensive linemen were freaking mean mugging him in the bottom of the pile, man. So, I definitely feel we talked about it. AA said it the last show for the last Vikings game. Cousins likes to turn the ball over, and I almost think he predicted 2 picks for him last time too. So absolutely, I definitely think this is something that could be another good day for our defense, man. And I'd love to see it happen early. Happen early. Quiet that home crowd down and jump on them early and pound them. I don't know if you guys just saw, I just retweeted something out on Twitter, Madden prediction that has us beating the Vikings 45-30, and Mitch throwing 4 TDs, Howard having a touchdown catch, a touchdown run, rushing for 110. I love it.
Yo, I saw that, and then I went back and looked at the Madden prediction for the previous week, which was 49ers 42, Bears 19.
Yep.
So,
I saw that one too.
They obviously got that setting to rookie.
Yeah.
And they're running up that scoreboard. All right, fellas. Last thing about this defense, we're gonna go around the room. I might put you in a little predicament that you don't want to answer, but I'm going to start off with AA. I'm just going to move across the top of my fucking phone here for you guys in order. Do you think that this team is postseason ready? And as a team, what positional group has you most concerned going into the postseason?
Yes, I think they're postseason ready. The special teams is my biggest area of concern. Cody Parkey scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him on the field like at all. I mean, that's what scares me. And then I also a little bit concerned about the secondary. Mukamara, I think, can be victimized. And then, I want to see that Eddie Jackson's back healthy. But other than that, I think we are playoff ready. And I feel good about it.
Oh yeah. Badge, what about you? Any positional groups that, have you concerned heading into the postseason?
I definitely agree with AA in regards to Parkey. And, I think our return coverage has gotten better. Our punt coverage has been very well. But Parkey makes me nervous, man. I going for 2 during the regular season, doesn't seem like that huge of a deal to me. But once you're in the playoffs, man, you everything matters, and you need those points. So you need to rely on your kicker, and I don't have that confidence in him. Just like AA, like Shane, he makes me nervous. But Amukamara, I think he does have the tendency sometimes to get beat, but luckily we haven't really had it happen for a touchdown. I just think one time did he get burned for a touchdown. But really, that's it. I'm confident in every aspect of this team. My doubts and my situational football doubts and Coach Nagy, in the Green Bay game, I didn't love it, but you know what? He's got these guys playing for him, and I'm just excited to sit back, man, watch this team, and hopefully ride it right to the Super Bowl, man, with a W there as well.
Definitely. Me too, man. Diddy, what about you, man? Any positional groups besides special teams, or is you on the same thing with the special teams that have you concerned?
Gotta agree with AA. We need Eddie healthy. Of course, everybody's hit on it. The Parkey is my main concern. And I think the most important thing, not really a concern, but if Mitch plays to his full potential with this defense, we're going to the promised land. That's if he can play to that level of the potential I think he has. I think we all think he has, and he just gets hot. We're going, man.
Yeah, without a doubt. Gaines, coming at you, man. What's your fear?
Outside of the obvious, like everybody, like you guys that rightfully hit on, outside of special teams, for me, man, it's right tackle. I've been watching Massey kind of off and on throughout the whole season, but watching him all season. And when it comes to the playoffs, man, I've been concerned at that pressure that comes in there, especially when it's a guy that lines up a little bit further outside of him. That pressure comes, and I'm so grateful that Mitch has an increased pocket presence, but I'm actually a little bit concerned about the right tackle. And it's actually offensive lines where I hope we go in the draft early. But that's my only area of concern. Outside of that, overall, well, I mean, we're nitpicking. I'm nitpicking at a playoff team. And so that outside of kicker, and Eddie will be back, right tackle. Besides that, I love our depth everywhere else. If Aaron Lynch can come back healthy and we have proper linebacker depth, I'm happy, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. Okay, Jared, wrap this thing up, man. What you got?
Let's just let's not get too cute when it's not necessary to be cute. I mean, that's okay to be you, but if you can be you and throw this whole team into a fucking send us home.
Yeah.
So let's be smart and sometimes, go for it sometimes and make those hard calls, but also know when to punt and when to kind of let your defense take over a game, and don't abandon Jordan Howard in a big moment because Matt Nagy is also on. I love Nagy, but he's also a part of that Kansas City team last year in that game where they got away from it and it bit him in the ass. I hope that he makes his redemption with Chicago. I feel like that's very possible. I feel like we have a great shot. And the only team that can beat us, and we've all said it all year, the only team that can beat the Bears is the Bears.
Yeah. Definitely, man.
So let's not beat ourselves.
Like you brought up that KC game and the run and not being able to do that. Hopefully something that we've been praising Mitch on is learning from past mistakes. Hopefully Nagy can do that in this playoff run and we don't get into a predicament like that or, sending out tweets and stuff asking for something different. Hopefully we don't get to that point. All right, fellas, let's go to predictions. Who you got this week? We kind of changed it up. We know nobody gives a shit about certain teams right now, but let's start this thing off. I'm going to come back around the opposite way, so I'm going to start it with you, Jer. Rams versus the Niners. I believe the Niners are actually in L.A., which doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter.
Because L.A., they seem to have more fans from opposing teams than they do their own. So home field isn't really a thing up there. But who do you got, Rams and Niners?
I think Gurley's out, right? So
Gurley is out, yeah.
And I don't know how much it matters, but that San Francisco team played us really tough, and they are tough up the middle, and I think they can give the Rams fits, but I think the Rams probably hold on.
Okay. What about you, Gans? Who you got, Rams or Niners?
I'm gonna go with the 49ers. I'm gonna go with 49ers.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just see it. We're a good team, and everybody's jocking Seattle right now. But They just got beat by the 49ers, man. And so I'm gonna go with them, man.
Nice. B-Dids, who you got? Rams, Niners.
Going with the Niners, man. I want that bye.
Yeah. Me too. I'm going with the Niners just because I think that this is a perfect setup for end of the season type, give a little, like, one more gas scenario to them and be able to hold the team from accomplishing something. And I think that brings the Niners out playing harder than it does for the Rams. Badge, who you taking, Rams or Niners?
Niners, baby.
Niners. I'm writing it down right now. What about you, AA? Who you got?
It makes no sense, but I'm going to take the 49ers because, damn it, why the hell not?
Perfect. All right, the next one we got is Eagles at the Redskins. Gaines, let's start with you, man. Who you taking?
I'll be surprised if the Eagles don't win this game.
Yeah.
The homie Nick Foles is looking like he was last year around this time.
Yep. I'm also taking the Eagles. I think that they come out, and I honestly think they come out and blow the fucking doors off the Skins. I think this one's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be over before halftime, but I'm going Eagles for sure. Jared, who you got?
Yeah, sorry. I channeled my inner Nicky. Anyway, Redskins playing pretty decent ball. I mean, the Eagles are one hit away from Nick Sudfeld, your Hoosier, being as quarterback. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Eagles too. That defense hits you in waves, and they can be a really tough out.
Yeah, definitely. I know I'm kind of getting off topic, but you think Chris Long's calling up Kyle Long about this game?
I'm sure there's been a few phone calls made about this game between the Long brothers and then Nagy's relationship with the Eagles coaching staff. I think there's been a few calls.
Hey, who you got? Eagles or Skins?
Eagles. Eagles are rolling right now. Foles got that big dick energy.
Speaking of big dick energy, Badge, who you taking?
Oh, wow. It's a compliment I've never had. Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles.
Okay. And Diddy, last one. Who you taking, man?
Eagles.
So nobody's taking the Skins. Easy day all around. All right. I don't even know why we're putting this one. Packers.
Garbage.
Garbage.
Garbage. Trash.
Fuck about this game. Packers Lions. I'm not even going to go through it. I really don't give a fuck. Nope. All right. Last one we're going to hit is our beloved against the Vikings. Let me just put it like this. Is anybody going to take the Vikings in this game?
Nope.
Hell no.
Easy day. I mean, I know it's a win and in for them, and I think it says a lot about not taking this team going up against our Bears.
We got to stomp them out.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I was moving some stuff around. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I hear you.
Easy day. All right, boys. Those are our NFC North predictions. I wouldn't say North, but those are our predictions of the game. It's NFC no matter what. Obviously, we got our Bears strong. We're going mainly Jersey, only one going Rams. Everybody else is hoping for that upset for getting us to bye. Everybody else took the Eagles. Nobody's counting on the Skins, and nobody gives a fuck about the Packers and the Lions. So those are our predictions. You guys could check out a little Mike North predictions and who he's got as his top four. Mike North will be coming at you here in a second. We're going to drop this in for you guys to hear who Mike's got. And if you guys, got a little Christmas money left over or whatever, ensure to, maybe you got a couple Visa gift cards. Who gives a fuck? Get in there, spend them on the thing. Go with Mike, see what he's got. And Michael, it's over to you for the drop. Boom.
This week, I got 4 games that I feel good about. The last 2-3 weeks, I felt okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is I go 10-5-1, but 2 of my losses are my best picks.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? I have 5 losses and I picked 2 of them? Come on. I got to do better than that. And that's why I've decided everybody's back in the Aaron Rodgers corner, ladies and gentlemen. Packers -8 versus the Lions. And I hate the Lions. I hate everything they represent. We just talked about the Lions. And I got to tell you something. Matt Patricia, from what I'm understanding, the guy shows up late for meetings. Not good when your head coach can't be punctual.
Yes.
That's not a good thing.
Not a good look.
I mean, seriously, are you kidding me?
That's crazy.
Vince Lombardi made everybody show up 5-10 minutes early.
Right.
This guy walks in like a stoner. You know what I mean? With the Walkman on and the beard. All right. That being said,
it's not working.
After I pillaged his whole family, I like the Lions plus the 8. They've kicked my ass all year. I need them just one time.
Time.
So the Detroit Lions. I didn't hear anything. That's good. I didn't hear a wow.
I'm not saying
I didn't
a word.
hear a oh yeah. I didn't hear a yippee. I didn't hear a yay. Awesome.
I've learned my lesson.
You're stunned. Okay. I just took the Matt Patricia. Let me tell you, if I owned the football team and I heard that he was coming late, that's the last time he'd come late.
Yeah.
I'd fire him mid-season.
How about that?
I wouldn't care. You're the head coach.
And this is the same coach who chastised a reporter for slouching in his chair when he was asking a question. And he's got the gall to chastise him when he's shown up late for all of his meetings with players and the media. That's ridiculous.
That is horrible. Horrible look. Okay, here's not a horrible look. What a segue. It's what made me me. Patriots minus 13.5 versus the Jets. Minus 13.5. And all I keep hearing is Tom Brady's on his last legs. Tom Brady's almost finished. Then I look up, I go, my God, he's had a great year.
Yes.
I got to be honest. I'm taking the Patriots. The Jets are going to get a rude awakening in Foxborough. New England's getting tuned up for the playoffs. And I think they're going to put them away early. And unlike what we were talking about with the Bears, we are going to let the game. There's no doubt in my mind, Belichick told them, we got to get a big lead, then I can rest you guys for the playoffs. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think this game's like a 40-20 game, to be honest with you. So I'm taking the New England Patriots, and I have the Detroit Lions. Next, the Bills minus 3.5 versus the Dolphins. You know, I took the Dolphins, and I think it's easy to take the Bills. I can't believe I'm saying this, because they both suck. So I'm going to go with the team that's getting 3.5. I look at the Miami Dolphins, and that's a team. I mean, when I ask Aldo Gandia, my trusted companion, my pal, one of my best friends, when I ask him, what do you think of the Dolphins? You can't even have an answer. They're up and down. That's it, right?
Yeah, they're up, and I think Adam Gase is going to be down and out of a job soon.
You think this could be his last year?
I think so. He's on the hot seat, that's for sure, from what I'm reading. Yep.
Okay, Aldo, reading about the Dolphins. It's a lonely life.
Very lonely.
Yeah. It's no wonder you forget some things. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into it.
Thank you.
Sort of like an inside joke between us pals, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're worried about Adam Gase.
Let's keep it inside.
I'm looking in the refrigerator, and you're working for Adam Gase. You're worried about him. Where are we going? Okay, here we go. I'm hearing some rumors that the Mike North Advantage, or there may be a couple more shows in the future.
That's right.
Maybe 3 a week. I'm hearing this, but I don't know for sure.
Well,
you know,
we'll find out soon and let everybody know.
Have you heard anything?
I've heard some rumors.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right. I don't like being. I'm in a restaurant. Some guy comes up to me and says it. I didn't even know who he was. He walked away. I think it might have been Tooch. Anyway, or Little Nicky. I love Little Nicky. Okay. Ravens minus 6. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just filling time content. That's what it's about. Welcome to my career.
There you go.
All right. Good, bad, or bad. Ravens, I'm going to regret this pick.
Uh-oh.
Right? Ravens minus 6 versus the Browns. I don't know. Here's the thing I can't believe. Screw Hugh Jackson. He's the worst coach in history. Apparently something happened with Baker Mayfield and him that we may not even know about.
Oh, wow.
He also sat Baker Mayfield sometime, and guess what? Those ties early, they killed him.
Yeah.
And they should have won some of those games. So if Baker Mayfield wants to put on a show, that's what the No Fun League has an issue with it, and the straight line mainstream media, screw you, Jetson. He sucks.
He does suck.
I'm with Baker Mayfield. Screw that guy. Fuck, he's got a job. Does he really deserve a job in the NFL after being the worst coach in the history of the game?
Wow.
And then you see the same team with Greg Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Williams looks like George Harris after following Hugh Jackson. All right. That being said, I'm taking the Ravens.
I knew you were going to go there.
As my top play. John Harbaugh. You know what? I'm a believer. I left him, but I'm a believer, and I don't know if I'm going to leave him, even if I try. I like the Ravens. Suggs, this could be a swan song this year. He's going to go free agency.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a hell of a player. So I got the Ravens, the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Lions.
All right, boys, that's the Mike North predictions. We know who Mike likes. We know Mike's been on a roll. But, if you guys want to, get out there, make your bets, place your bets, see what you get. And I don't know if I'm really agreeing on Mike's Bears prediction, but either way, whatever. He's got the, he's going hard in the paint. So let's get any last shout-outs and move around the room, and we'll chalk this thing up and get out of here. Let me go ahead and start this thing with the Badger. Badger, any shout outs you got for the Barflies and everybody listening?
Just to you guys, my boys. I've had a great time, man. The regular season's coming to a close. I appreciate y'all getting me in on this. And the bar room, Aldo, Shane, Phil, all the guys writing stuff for the website. Appreciate y'all, Barflies. We appreciate you listening in. And let's go get this dub.
Damn straight. BQ, B Diddy, what you got, man? Shout outs.
Hey man, just to this crew. I mean, this whole idea started a while back, and to be able to roll and grow together on the show with such an incredible season to cover, and being able to be a part of the bar room, man, it's just been awesome. I love what we're doing here, and who would have thought, man? We're about to cover the playoffs, baby.
Damn straight.
And Happy New Year to everybody in the bar room and their families, man. Bear down.
Damn straight. Big Games, what you got, man? Shout outs.
Want to shout out all to my fellow out there, man. Really appreciate you guys listening and tuning in, and the loyal listeners, man. And it's been special. It's been a special ride. This is the playoff Chicago Bears Tailgate podcast, and I'm very, very honored to be a part of it. And let's keep riding this way, fellas, man. I appreciate my guys, my brothers on the show that hold it down, that I continue to learn from.
Damn straight. Appreciate it, Gaines. Gaines has got the sun shining, birds are chirping and shit. He's ready to go. Hey, you got any shout outs, man? What you got?
Yeah, man, shout out to all you guys. Obviously, it's been a really fun year. It's been quite a journey. What a season. And it's not over yet. We're not done yet. We're still doing this thing. The Bears are still doing this thing. And, shout out to everybody in the bar room, or the bear room, as Mike North likes to call it. We call it the bear room. It's been fun, man. We're not done. We're keeping it going. And bear down.
Hell yeah. Air Jer, ending them with you, man. What you got? Shout outs.
Shout out to our own AA. Hey, now he's a blog star. Right. Shout out, a big supporter of our show, and I don't know, Chris Armstrong. You've always been a big supporter. You're always in the chats. We thank you. We see you. Shout out to my boy Z-Droid. Zach went through a tough time last year. He's been rewarded with a Bears playoffs. And shout out to you guys, man. Like we've said, I couldn't think of anything better than 16 weeks so far that we've been able to just flat kick it, talking Bears. We don't always agree, and we're not the smartest people, but we're not dumb either. We have a good time, and I hope the fans enjoy it. I hope you guys. I know I love it. It's a highlight of my weekend. And yeah, man, Happy New Year, and let's be careful, be safe, bear down, and let's beat the fucking Vikings. Fuck them.
Hell yeah, man. All right, my little piece here, shout outs before we roll into the closing. Obviously to Aldo letting us do this. You guys all coming together, and we got people moving in and out, but either way, it's all love. I mean, dudes are here. Shout out to little Nicky. Little Nicky last night he was in a bar with my sister and my mom. They were having some drinks together. Little Nicky's getting healthy and he's doing well. So shout out to Nicky. Go ahead, AA, with the drop. What's it?
I love little Nicky.
There you go. There it is. Shout out to Phil, Shane, John, everybody in the bar room, man. Danny, John, Cars Keys, he's got his piece. Z Formation is there. Trey Busy bringing us all together with a little talk. Either way, it's been a remarkable season. Love sharing it with you guys, sharing it with the Barflies. This thing has really grown, over this season alone, man, and actually getting out on the streets and meeting people, and we're all going places and hitting each other up, and conversations and that. It's really been a remarkable season, I think, man. And we'll just close this thing out. Thanks for joining us this season. We look forward to bringing you some playoff coverage from here on out and hearing from all the Barflies out there. Make sure you follow Bears Barroom for all your football coverage. Get to the swag shop, check it out, get yourself some gear. The New Year's here. Get in there and buy something special for yourself. Check out Bears on Tap Sunday night. Danny and Aldo going to come at you with a little breakdown of this Viking game, and who knows, maybe we'll catch this first round bye and see what happens. Bears Hour Live is going to kick it Wednesday of this coming week. John Buffon 55, John's ready. He's going to hit his little timer, his stopwatch, and just basically kick down doors and walls. Trey Busy gets us all together for Let's Talk It Out, and then Mike North brings up the week with that, that little Mike North advantage and a little paycheck for everybody. Check out YouTube, Tape Never Lies, Cars Keys. Articles popping up every week. There's a new little spot on there, Z Formation, where Zim Zimmerman comes out with his piece. It was a good look, good little piece that he put together. It's just, the barroom's just getting better, man. It's going to keep on growing. Get to bearsbarroom.com, check it out. Follow on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, subscribe, retweet, share. Get to Chicago Now and give your boy AA a subscription for his new blog spot, His Orange Pants Dance. The Barfly Tailgate Show and all the Bears Barroom Radio Network shows are brought to you by Verdoliak Law Group. Visit verdoliak.com. Let them know, explain the situation, see what they can do for you. They're there to help out, man. They've been a great sponsor of the show and helping everybody out. Don't forget Tick Splits, Mike out there. All your sporting needs. He's joined the barroom, hooking up Barflies. Playoff tickets are out there. Get to them, man. Tick Splits, they have cheaper prices than the other places. Get your playoff tickets. Get in there. Go watch your Bears bring this thing home. This show and all the barroom shows are available on your podcast stream at bearsbarroom.com. You'll get it today, tomorrow. Whatever. You're going to get an extra Christmas present tomorrow morning when 100 Proof comes at you live Sunday morning. They say they're going to wrap it up before the damn game, but I don't know about that. You can't trust those dudes. They're going to kick it at 2:30 Eastern, and they're said to be out before kickoff. If 100 Proof actually is 2 hours, I will be surprised. Once again, Barfly, thanks for joining us this morning. You guys bring it every week. Enjoy those morning games, even though there's not much shit that you can watch. There's a couple with playoff implications, but nothing that really matters to us. Have a safe and happy New Year. Be with your loved ones, whatever, celebrate. Just make sure, at the end of that night, or the next morning, if you're staying up past midnight, you get home safely. And, you're here for this Bears playoff run and support the barroom and these Bears players and everything that they're doing. Love you guys, man. Barflies, unite. And that's just the way we do it. Let's get in there, take care of these Vikings, get into this playoff run, and bear down.
Bear down.
Bear down, baby.
Bear down.
Oh, wow.